we'll do our normal business here of standing up and doing the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, this is the part of the meeting that if somebody's got something they want to bring up that's not on the agenda, you have an opportunity to state your claim, your thoughts, your whatever, and something we can't act on, something we will discuss, but we, like I said, can't act on until we bring it to a meeting. So, has anybody got anything?
I do if nobody else does anything.
Go ahead, Jim.
You guys always heard my grandma on about pigeon roosts. One of the things we were working on was, I got hold of Jonathan Abbott to see if he could clear all that brush out through there. And it's quite a job. You've been out there. It goes all the way, and you can't even get to that old restroom. You have to have a machete to get out there. And we also have a couple of trees that's got to come down. One of them is very dangerous for the public. Steve Royalty had, I think, 2 people come in and take a look at taking it down. And I think Corbin Roth was probably the best view. And I think it's dangerous. It's actually broke part of the way, and it's dangerous enough it could actually collapse on somebody. It's that bad. So, and he'll have to get the bids into us. But Abbott told me, he said, if you guys will get the trees, he said, I'll clear all that out for $0 for you, for the county. He won't call it
Like a donation type of.
Yeah, well, he said the county will always help the fair board, and he appreciates it, and it's kind of his way of returning the favor. So, just want to get
We talking east of?
We're talking east and north of the monument, all the way to that Edrington property down
So we're
there.
talking the north edge down around where the railroad tracks are back up east of the railroad tracks.
If you go to the railroad tracks, it starts actually at tracks and winds all the way back around, all the way up to that trailer, all that back in there.
Okay.
And he's got the map out, make sure we know what property's ours. And I thought, well, it'll work out 2 things. Not only clean that out and make it prettier over time, but we're always having some kind of a tree or limb or something fall down on John's property.
Yeah, on that tree.
We can get back in there now and get out of there while we need to get out. But I was impressed with it was just his idea.
Well, I saw him last night. He had, they burnt some stuff down at the fairgrounds, and somebody thought those buses were on fire, so. But he had a big brush fire going down there cleaning up at the fairgrounds, so.
Well, he thinks we ought to have, once we get all some of that trees and all that stuff together, to have here a big bonfire. Of course, we probably want to get the fire department to do it, make it safe, but that's up to us. But he said we need to cut the trees. I thought maybe he could knock them down, but he didn't feel
So,
comfortable doing that.
so Steve's got somebody coming giving an estimate, 2 estimates
Yeah,
for.
2 estimates.
Okay, I'm good with that, so.
And Steve will show them to you. I suppose we can actually, if we have to vote on the estimates, or maybe it's already budgeted somewhere, somebody we could use to.
You have money in your fund that you have the venture,
Yeah.
and everything's, they're paying monthly now, everything's.
So everything's
really
caught
well
up.
with that.
Good deal.
Yeah.
I think one of the guys wouldn't even put a bid on it. He said it was just too dangerous. They got one down.
Lost my train of thought.
And the group of people down at the museum have a deadline. I talked to Randy about this, September 12th, so they're going to have a rededication down there, the whole thing. There's a lot of stuff everybody wants to get done. The main goal to me is just get it cleaned up the best we can get it. The state had it for years and they mowed it and took care of it, but all that's grown up. I bet it hasn't been mowed back there in 20, 30 years.
Yeah, they just
let that part go.
licking a promise is what
Yeah.
they did.
Yeah, so it's our baby now. So.
I guess I'm fine with the Abbott part. I mean, of course, I mean, that's.
He said he had $2 million worth of line insurance.
As far as the trees, you know, as long as we get a couple estimates. Oh, I know what I was gonna say. Didn't we have somebody go down there and mark those trees, the ones that need to come
Bill
down?
Shepherd got a bunch of them down. Phil actually brought this one to my attention. He said, it's just too dangerous.
Okay. So we've cleared a couple, or a bunch of them, but there's a couple that need to be professionally taken down.
Absolutely, and the city came down, and took all the stumps down for the city of Scottsburg, so there's a whole bunch of people coming together to help get this thing done.
What's Robert's, because and forgive me, because I have not been down there to cut the trees you're talking about. But what's right underneath the trees? Anything?
Well, it's right in that, as soon as you pass the cemetery, as you come in, there's a little loop there for parking. It's right on the edge of that loop. It's fairly close to the cemetery itself. It probably won't land on our monument. The biggest concern to me is just, if the odds are we'd be okay, but if somebody just happened to be standing close to that thing, they could get killed there, that tree coming down. So it's a liability issue to me. It's cleaning it up, and I think we have a liability there.
Well, I was curious on whether or not, if we had a boom lift, go out there
Yeah,
Could we
it could
start
be.
taking it off the top and letting it drop and then to where it's safe to go ahead and then,
That may be the way to go, and if we can do a better way, I'm all for it.
we might be able to
Yeah,
rent a boom lift and I'll
yeah,
go out there and cut it down.
that's fine with me. I'd throw me to death, save us a few dollars. I mean, that's okay. I think our attorney, that's okay, isn't it? We do some of the work ourselves. I know, I'm kind of throwing it off there, but,
I'd have to look at exactly what kind of work and what.
yeah, I assume we're covered. I mean, I go out and do stuff all the time.
We own the land.
Okay, well.
Yeah, it's county
I have to
property.
look at it,
It's county property.
yeah.
Ordered by the judge, what, a year ago? So,
Yeah. Actually,
but I think, yeah,
the state kind of just gave it to us and said,
good luck.
there you go.
Whether or not you need like you said some of it needs like a professional.
That's what he's saying, that's what I was asking about the tree that or the couple of trees he's in question. It's not where our county highway can cut them down, because sometimes they'll just cut one down, but it's out in the middle of nowhere. This one sounds like it's a widowmaker, so.
Yeah, it is. That's exactly the words they use, a widowmaker.
So it's gonna, when it falls, they don't know where it's gonna fall, or if the wind's gonna come off and hit somebody or something else, so
I agree it'd be a liability problem if it stays as is, but whether or not it would be a good idea for one of the county commissioners to be cutting it down. I'd have to look at that, not to.
Now, Franny, you go out there in the middle of the night tomorrow, let's get
I
on.
don't know how that happened.
Well, I am sure.
But anyway, yeah.
I got chewed out this weekend by a guy. He meant well. I was down there mowing, and the committee kind of wanted all that mowed inside there where the bodies are. And they're gonna plan on having the highway fill that back in. Some guy, I didn't know him, he was all upset because he'd been planting the flowers and fixing it all up look nice, and he wanted to know who cut his flowers down. I said, Commissioner. So once we explained it all and had a talk, he's like, realized we was trying to make it
Yeah,
better.
that sounds like me in my mom's backyard.
Yeah,
So anyway, well, tell them, get us some estimates, we'll see what they are, and if we can find a different way of doing it.
Yeah.
Legally, then we might do something different, but
yeah.
bring it to us. All right, first up, the city of Scottsburg.
You want me to stand
You
or?
can come up here and sit down.
Okay,
Oh, we don't want anybody standing over top of us.
I understand. Randy, I had the pleasure of meeting you. I'm Jessica Jones. I am with the
You don't have
city.
to wear that.
Okay, I've not been vaccinated, is why I was wearing
I
it, so. The reason I'm coming to you guys tonight is in reviewing our records, we have found that since the city exercised the 2-mile fringe on our advisory plan commission, that the county actually gets 2 appointments from that fringe area to our advisory plan commission. And so they do have to have following requirements per the state. They have to live or own property within that fringe area, outside the city limits, but within that 2-mile fringe. And since you get 2, you get 1 from each political party. The city does have some recommendations on people that live in this area that meet that criteria, if you guys would want to appoint them. However, it is your appointments. And I can tell you that the names that we were looking at were Carla Zellers and Todd Ritchie. But that would be completely your guys' choice.
And they meet
They
all
meet-
your requirements.
Yes, they both, if they don't, they own property or live within the 2-mile fringe, but outside the city limits. One is a Republican, we have checked it with the state roll records, and one is a Democrat with the state roll records, so we have checked all of that. They do meet those requirements.
I think I know which one's which, but I'm not positive.
I can tell you, yeah.
The R's a D and
It doesn't matter.
C's an R.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, so with that, we would like to ask for you guys to make appointments to that board. Their first meeting would be this upcoming Monday, the 21st. That board does meet once a month, so.
I'm okay.
Anybody's pleasure? I mean, do you know both people?
Then you just have to. I say, just raise your hand. No, I'm kidding. I'm
No,
kidding.
I know both of them. I mean, Todd actually had a lot to do with the fair board and stuff.
Oh, yeah, I do know Todd, yeah.
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
and of course, Carl's the city police chief's wife.
That's the
so-
only thing wrong with her.
Yeah, him.
Well, married to him.
Anyway, I'd entertain a motion just to accept them if everybody, unless somebody's got somebody different, but
No,
quite honestly, the criteria of 2 miles outside the city limits would be, it's kind of probably a hard thing to find somebody.
Well, because of the other attributes that go into that 2-mile jurisdictional area. So it's not just a 2-mile ring around the city.
Yeah.
They have to be served by 2 city utilities in that area. So there are areas where our 2-mile fringe stops like not even an 1/8 mile outside of the city limit.
You may have electric, but you don't have water or sewer, so.
Correct.
So,
So, yeah.
I'll make a motion.
John makes a motion to accept those 2 to the city advisory board.
Yeah.
Randy will second that, and I'll make that unanimous, so.
And then, if you don't mind, I do have one more thing. I was asked if I could confirm this as well. The Pet Pantry, which is a volunteers from the Humane Society, is needing a place to store 1 to 2 semi-trailers for their pet food giveaways once per month, and was wanting to know if it was okay for them to set up or store behind the health department or down by the county garage, whichever you guys would be okay with, if you would be okay with that.
Well, I'm okay with either one of them. I think the issue, do we have the space to do it?
Right.
Michelle's here, I don't know, and Jerry's here too. I don't know if we could find space back here in the back or not. If we can, I'd like to, but
Right.
Like inside the bay?
No,
No.
outside.
Kind of outside?
In the parking lot, and it can be even all the way at the very back or something.
I mean, in the very back, you have those people who are renting it, those
The
semi
trucks,
drivers.
yeah.
We've kind of condensed down our drive-through lane, so it's not as crazy as it used to be, since our traffic is such bad, so.
you're talking daytime.
I believe they do theirs on like a Saturday whenever they do the giveaways. It's usually
We're
on
not
a
even there
weekend.
on Saturdays usually.
Yeah.
Is there any way we could do it like in the southeast corner up by the,
I think they're gonna be very appreciative of anywhere that we may be
I
able
just
to find
want
for
that
them. Yeah,
away from everything else, otherwise messed with it?
right.
Because I know I was contacted about it, and
Yeah.
my concern was how much space Venture takes up. And I know they take up some, and sometimes that
Right,
truck comes in, it moves over here, and sometimes everything's moved back and forth down the line, so.
right.
I don't have a problem with it as long as they're
I don't
not,
have a problem with
they
either place.
don't
Like
sit
you
out
said.
in the middle of the road someplace.
Yeah, and-
Fine, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was, when you were sitting there talking about the pet pantry, I thought, you said the highway garage, I thought, that might actually fit in on a Saturday morning at the farmer's market and all that somehow or other. But
right.
Yeah, but that would be outside the fence down there, and it might, be kinda closer to the road and traffic, so.
Can I just say, maybe just get with Michelle and work with her, if you guys are okay with that?
I don't have a problem with that, and we can do that. We wanted
So-
to ask your guys' permission before we,
So this is dry dog food?
yes. I believe they also do dry cat food whenever they have it as well.
Well, I'm gonna ask, since the health department, I'm gonna ask, we're not talking about any varmints or,
No.
so there's.
I will,
it's not
where
like
they're
the ranch
currently
will be
set up,
jumping
we
up.
have had no issues. However, we don't have any room to expand for them, is why we were asking. So
Okay.
we've not had any issues, and they've usually done a really good job at keeping things neat and clean
Just
around their
don't be
facility.
a,
Please.
a rat infested
Yes.
place,
Yeah,
or a bunch of feral cats out all over the place.
Right, and I can even work with you and give you the contact name of the person.
Okay.
So,
So
yeah.
they keep their place cleaned up?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm fine with it. And do we need a motion, Tammy, or just
You can by
consensus?
consensus give
Yeah.
permission, I think, unless you feel like it's,
You can give permission by vote if you want, or
I'll make a motion.
Randy makes a motion, John seconds it, I'll make it unanimous, so.
Well, thank you guys for your time. I
All right,
appreciate it.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Justin. Thanks for help on the mowing, I think.
Oh, not a problem. Thank you guys for your help.
Well, while you are here, I appreciate you guys helping out on anything that we do. I know you put I don't know if you noticed or not, there's being put a lot on, Captain English out here, so. I appreciate everything the city does for us and vice versa, so go ahead,
it's a
Jerry.
great partnership.
I was gonna say thanks too, because they let us use the Mid-America Science Park for free out there when we had our auction, so I
Yes.
greatly appreciate
Thank you
it.
guys very
And
much.
I'll add to that too, we were able to host auditors, many meetings, so to speak, out there, and the State Board of Accounts lady really liked the facility, and she said, I'm gonna remember this, so I appreciate, because Justin helped me get that
Okay.
going too, so at least we had somebody from the state level come down and actually visit, and we enjoyed it, so it was good.
Well, thank you guys. I know you guys were able to help us this week also with an incident that we had, so, and everything. You guys, it's just a great partnership and we appreciate that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you guys.
All right, Michelle. Health Department update.
I'm gonna do grants first, does that work?
Sure.
Okay.
Whatever your pleasure.
Okay. Well, I guess before I get into this first grant, which is a continuation of our COVID-19 testing, are you guys okay with us using that building still, the old health department, for the end of the year?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with that. I guess I have a question. Are they still doing it in the National Guard Army?
So that ends on Friday.
But isn't it the same group?
No,
So that's the.
that's the Optum
The
contract.
big time billionaire contract that.
That
Okay.
costs, yes.
So that's
the state
gonna
lots
go
of money.
away and it's gonna be the project we have at the hospital.
Well, kind of, yes. So yes, Optum's going away. The hospital, they are trying to decide if they're going to continue or not. So we may be partnering with another organization as far as providing the employees for that.
With that, how many people are we testing these days?
I think last week over at our site we did less than 25.
For the week?
Yeah.
So there's gonna
And
be
then
a time when,
Optum did about that same amount.
so there's gonna be a time when, we're going to have employees for pretty much just sitting and waiting for.
I think there was a
somebody
day
to
last
get
week
doors.
where those employees, didn't test anybody.
The goal's what, to get 70%, and what percentage are we at?
Oh, this is testing.
Oh, testing, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
testing, yes,
This
at the
isn't
old health
shots.
department,
Yeah. Okay.
yes. So I mean, the hospital just sends us a monthly invoice and we just pay them, so they're still getting paid to sit over there. But that's what this grant pays for.
So is there a plan to, I mean, I guess my question is, when is it gonna be that?
COVID testing goes away forever?
No, it's not gonna go away, I don't see it going away, but I mean,
I think we're,
About to get fired.
that's beside the point, but I guess the point is that we're getting to the point where 25 people in a week. I mean,
Right.
You know, is it gonna be could it be a situation where we could do it at the health department, just kind of isolate an area that we do it there and not be paying rent, or not, we're not paying rent, but I mean, we're paying people to sit there.
we're paying the
and
hospital, yeah.
do nothing.
It's not really money out of our pocket though, because right now, like what we pay them and utilities, like we still haven't expended all that first 100,000 that we got, and that's supposed to
Okay.
end.
Well,
I would like to mention something real quick.
Yes.
We have not committed to nothing yet
Mhm.
with Phil, but we was looking at the
Stucky.
possibility of maybe a rec center, talking about maybe turning it into a rec center.
Okay.
So, and that's something that we would want to kick off before
Okay.
January naturally.
Okay.
So is there a possibility of doing this somewhere else that we could?
Possibly, yes. That entrance, or that building also has 2 entrances. So maybe it's something where we just like isolate it to one part of the building for a few months or something like that.
Talking about your building?
The old health department. You have that ramp on the
I see, yeah.
north side and then the main entrance, of
Mhm.
course.
I mean, it's
Maybe
something we
that
could
as an
work
option.
together with
Yeah.
them on
Yeah, definitely.
transition if we have to.
Yeah,
What
because
about-
this
what
is
about if
only-
we do, I mean, if we're talking about, and we haven't even
No.
talked in depth about this
Right.
thing, but what if we just say on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we're testing, or Tuesday and Thursdays, we're testing for COVID?
We could do that, yeah.
and
We can always
say-
change our
And
schedule.
then say, that's the day the building's gonna be open for that testing, and then Phil
Mm-hmm.
can have it on other days, or, so, we can figure it out.
Yeah, all, the schedules it's not set in stone, and
We're
like.
paying the rent regardless.
Well, we
Well,
own,
you're paying
Well, we're paying the
utilities,
utility.
utilities, phone, and the hospital, like I said, they send us a monthly invoice for those
I mean,
employees.
they're gonna pay it whether we're 5 days or 3 days, or we're gonna pay them, the hospital.
Well, we pay them, it's hourly,
But you're
so,
going-
If
hospital.
we could cut back, it would be less.
correct,
but
but it's
the
free,
hospital's getting out of it though, correct?
it's looking that way, yes, but we may, like, there's no way that my staff could like test over there 5 days a week and do vaccines, because the state told us, this week that they're probably gonna kick back all the contact tracing too, so like, all the money that the state has spent on these contracts for Optum for testing, and then that other group for the contact tracing, and like the central lineup at the state, like, they're scaling back on that because they don't have the volume, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the money's just not worth it, so then all that's getting kicked back to the health departments, so, which is fine, like, we only have 6 new positives a week, like, we can handle that, but if you throw in testing on top of that, and then, you know,
Yeah.
other things. I think testing will ramp up come fall and winter, because, you know, you got flu and colds, and people just will wanna get tested, and, July 1st, the school boards are now in charge of the COVID policies within their school, but there's still a requirement, I think there will still be a requirement, like, if someone's showing so many symptoms, they're gonna have to have a negative test before the school will let them come back. So we'll have to have testing available, you know, I think at least every morning for school-age kids, for things like that, so kids aren't out 3 and 4 days because our testing center's not open.
Well, I just don't wanna get in the same boat as what you're saying the state's seeing now, is that everything's going down, and we're going to continue to open a facility 5 days a week, and.
Yeah, we can always
we're
scale
not
it
getting
back.
Volume, yeah.
And I mean, right now it's not costing us anything. Like I said, we still have some of the 100,000 left over. We have 50,000 that would go through the end of December, so I think that covers more than.
And I wouldn't have a problem sharing the building if something else comes up with that other part, I think.
Yeah, I just know
'Cause you
there's a
only
lot
need an
of.
area, I mean,
Yeah, and it's nice to just keep it separate, because, I mean, if we are doing vaccines, then people, you know, getting confused, and people
Yeah,
know, like,
I
that's
agree.
testing and over here's not, and so.
Well, I think the rec center mostly is gonna be used at nighttime more
Okay.
than anything, so I don't think
Yeah.
it's gonna be.
I think everything's fine, so.
Okay, so you guys are okay us using that building until.
Yeah.
Okay, so then this grant would be for 50,000 for continuation of COVID testing. Whether that may be like a contract with the hospital, another organization, or, we may have to go to, worst case scenario, we may have to go to the council to get like a contracted position where we contract somebody to go over there however many days we're open. So,
Okay.
so that's 50,000, if you guys want to make a motion on that.
Is that a,
So,
is that a
technically
50/50?
reimbursable, no, so it's 100%, state funded, so whenever you guys approve it and they send me the invoice, I'll ask for the whole 50,000 at one time.
okay,
Yep.
motion?
Make,
John makes a motion, Randy seconds it, and I'll make that unanimous, so you need a signature on that?
Yes, please.
Yes, today.
Today's the 16th. And then this next one, it's for basically we agreed to continue COVID vaccines until June of next year. It's for $48,872.48. One stipulation that we have to do with this grant is we have to kind of monitor the community vaccination sites, so like Williams Brothers, CVS, and if any other pharmacy takes on COVID vaccines, we just have to kind
Walmart
of.
doing that too?
Walmart, yes. We'll just have to go in there and like make sure that they have like logs of all their temperatures, everything's being stored properly, report it back to the state. If there's any issues, the state will come in and do that, but part of the agreement with this grant is like local health departments kind of take on that partnership to monitor vaccine
Down
sites.
to a few cents.
Yes, $48,872.48.
Get that 48 cents.
Yes. So yeah, so that would be, until June 30th of 2022.
And that's the state.
Yes, and honestly, I have no idea what I'm gonna spend that money on, cause they just kind of threw it at us. So a lot of health departments are in that position, whether that's, a lot of us are thinking about doing like more like media stuff, like, radio ads or billboards, maybe upgrading some equipment. But
Because
yeah.
technically, we already have people in
We're already
place.
doing everything that the grant requires us to do, except we just need to go to those pharmacies and just,
But the state's kind of stepping back away from it, letting you guys, the locals, take over us, pretty much, you think?
well,
Instead of them.
I think
spending
that,
money.
yeah, I don't think that they have the capacity to like go to all these pharmacies and check, but since it's like a federal vaccine, they need
Yeah.
somebody to check in on that, so we kind of just take on that. And they said it's like not, like, they don't want us to be the bad guys, like if we go in and we see a problem, like they haven't been logging their temperatures of their vaccine machine or refrigerators, then we report that to them and then the state would go in and address that, like we're not there to like be the
Okay.
vaccine police.
Motion.
I'll make a motion.
Randy makes a motion,
Second.
John seconds it, I'll make that unanimous.
And that's also reimbursable, so we will know county. Next thing is our mowing services agreement, which I sent you guys an email about this earlier in the week. I worked with Zach on this. So Z&T Property Preservation was the lowest bid at $150 per property. We don't have any properties yet, but it seems like we may have some coming up. And so this will be at least for a year once we sign it. So
You're talking about this is where if
our grass and
we
weed ordinance.
If we have someone that calls in a complaint on a homeowner,
Yes,
landowner or somebody, and they're not mowing their property, then we contract somebody out to mow and
correct. And we add it to their
add it
tax
to
bill.
their tax bill.
Yes, Randy contacted me about a property today, actually. So,
Okay.
Question,
Yes.
how did you get the word out there?
so I had it, I asked Lisa to put in Tammy's office to put it in the Colorsville Times for a week, and then I put it on our Facebook page.
Okay.
Actually, I saw it out there.
So I had several people call, but I think it kind of deterred people that like you didn't really know what you were getting into. So, you know what I mean? Like it could be a,
It's afraid to be low.
yeah.
Well, it's different than mowing somebody's
Yeah.
property or a bunch of trash out there and obstacles that you mow, so
Yeah.
you're mowing around a bunch of stuff, or if it's 2 acres that you're just going out there and mowing 2 acres, so.
And I think generally, it's like abandoned property or
Yeah.
renters.
Yeah, like the properties you said, like they're way out in
And you guys send them
Lexington and-
notices ahead.
Yes,
So
we
it
do
ain't
a
like the guy
letter,
just walks up on the property one morning and starts mowing.
Yeah.
right.
So they're well prepared.
Well, we've done this before, and actually, I think Court and
Court.
McLaughlin always did. Court just
Yeah.
doesn't want to do it anymore, so.
Correct, yes.
So, anyway, I have a motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
John makes a motion,
Second.
Randy seconds it, I'll make that unanimous. so.
Okay. And then do you want to sign this, or are you okay with me signing it once Zach signs it?
I think you're fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that an ordinance that you've already got?
Yes.
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 Yeah.
So,
Or-
Do you want it?
Yeah, we'll get a copy of it, somebody's gonna be calling us.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's an ordinance.
Yeah,
We've been doing it.
2002.
I think the grass has to be at least 12 inches tall, doesn't it, over that, or.
something like that, or, it just,
Well, yeah, I'll get a
we've had
copy.
it for a long time. What'd you say, 2002, Zach?
2022-11, OR 2211.
Okay, it's 2011,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, we've been doing this for a long time, so.
Yeah. And then we have a trash one that we just put in within the last 5 years, since I've been here, maybe 4 years ago. So people have a bunch of trash on their property that they don't.
And who picks that up?
Well, Court did it too.
Court did it too, so that will probably be something that,
We haven't addressed that
we
yet.
haven't addressed that yet.
How tall is the grass supposed to be?
I don't think there's actually a requirement for the height of the grass.
It's usually way taller than that.
Yeah, it's
It doesn't specify.
taller
It's
than knee high.
not a couple
so-
weeks.
Yeah, it's not, it's,
Well, it's something we probably.
It's not
Over 8 inches.
Some
Over 8 inches.
Or other notches.
he's saying 8 inches or,
Okay. So, and that's
Okay.
exactly a bunch of
Over
our
8 inches.
ordinances,
Yeah.
so.
it's nothing new, we've been doing that for a long time. It's the matter, I think, we're addressing is that the person that was doing it doesn't wanna do it anymore, so.
Yeah.
And I understand what you're saying about people being reluctant to bid that for the fact that you don't know what you're gonna get into.
Yeah.
And it's not mowing the park, it's,
Well, I think a lot of people thought we were getting bids for our
Yeah.
lot, and I was like, no, that's
I
not
know
what this is.
Court had one or two where he didn't even have to go through the process anymore. He just contact those people and they pay him
Mhm.
rather than have to go through the process, put on their taxes.
Yeah.
yeah,
Everybody's individually, how they want to do it.
Yeah, definitely,
yeah,
yeah.
you're right. It's cheaper for them to put it on a tax bill than to mow it.
So, yeah, so we'll probably be doing the trash ordinance next. Okay, and then last thing is, we're updating one of our billboards in Austin. Total cost of the contract would be $1,388 for 6 months. It's located there, kind of across from Best Donuts, if you're familiar with that. We have that on there right now, that flu shot one.
Okay.
And then it'll kind of just be miscellaneous, like something very generic, like vaccinations work,
Yeah.
something, you know. Has to be vaccinated related because it's a vaccine, with the immunization grant. So
Sounds good.
yeah, I just need you guys to give me permission to enter into that
I did
contract.
mention to John Edrington about the vaccinations.
Yeah,
He's gotta go on that. You wanna
Okay.
talk to him?
he called me about something today and we've been playing phone tag, so I'll ask him about that one
It
and
might
we talk
help. I
tomorrow.
don't know, maybe I'd help both of you.
Randy makes a motion to accept the billboard.
Yeah, I'll second that.
John seconds it, I'll make that unanimous.
Okay,
So, appreciate it.
thank you guys. Any questions
you.
for me? Okay,
Any good?
have a good night.
You too?
We gotta quit this. We're gonna get this over on time tonight.
Well, no. It's gonna slow down here in a minute. The sheriff department.
I hear the brakes coming.
I'll be quick, I promise.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
First thing, the water pumps in the jail. Josh, I don't think he get a hold of you. Okay, so, real quick. You
I
already
got a
know.
question, cause I think I've, talked to Josh or somebody. Those pumps run together, don't they? It's not one goes out, the other one runs, they're both running at the same time, correct?
Well, they both run at the same time, but I think one of them had been out for a
That's
while.
what I was getting with Josh,
Yeah.
is that the likelihood of two of them
At
going
the
out at
same
the same time.
time,
is
yeah, you're
slim to
probably better
none.
off with a lottery ticket. You know what I'm saying? You know,
So, but-
yeah. So what, I mean, that's obviously, you know what I'm saying, something you guys can talk to Josh about.
I don't know how
Water
that's,
softener is what SNL said that we needed to use the water softeners down there. And I guess a couple, 3 or 4 years ago, they quit using them for some reason. I don't know why, you know what I'm saying?
I don't either.
I don't know if it was the expense of the salt or whatever it was, but
that's
you know.
not that much, but I know just from having a hot water heater at home, I put a softener in, and I used to replace it quite often. I mean, we have hard water in this area, so I mean, I think you probably need to be doing that because, you know, just like hot water heaters, this pump, if that's what, you know, burnt the cycle out of them, I mean, I think, and the other part is that I'd be curious, how would you know if one went out until both of them went out?
Mhm.
So anyway, yeah.
Some of these facilities, a lot of times, they'll actually put a red light on one.
I wondered about
wire,
that.
And then that way, when the pump shut off, the red lights come
So they
on.
know
breaks
it's,
the current.
yeah, they
Yeah,
know
breaks
it's
the
not,
current. That's
it's not
exactly right.
working.
Okay, yeah.
So,
So, yeah, I'll mention something to him and you
So
can
we
mention
do
something
have
to him too, so.
we do have the water softener, don't we?
Yeah, it's down
We
there,
just
yeah.
don't use it.
Just don't use it, yeah. And I'm pretty sure they'd mentioned something about that the salt had got so expensive that it was like $400 or $500 a month for salt or something like that, and it cost.
Wow.
Yeah, well, that's what Josh was, I think, saying, it's like $1,000 a month.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
For salt, for the water softener?
So,
Holy cow.
so, I
Doesn't
mean,
sound necessary to me.
Maybe not.
I think that's why.
How much is that pump?
Cause
Yeah.
it was eating, it was $500 out of each budget or something, maintenance and the gym stuff.
For the
or
salt?
something,
yeah, he said it's like 600 pounds of salt.
Wow.
Each time.
So, I mean, if, we're probably looking at what, and I'm guessing here, okay, just have no idea, what, these are what, 7 horsepower pumps?
I'm not sure, yeah, I don't know. Josh
It's bigger
needs to
than
take
I
care of
thought
it.
we was talking about, but I guess that's for fire suppression.
No. Well, maybe initially, but once, if there was a fire there, we'd hook on and supply the water supply, but it may run the sprinkler system
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
until we hook to it.
Right, but I think you have to have the head pressure in case the fire breaks out to start initial sprinkler. But, so I'd be kind of curious on weighing the cost of the salt to just
Cost of the
doing a
pumps.
periodic maintenance on repairing pumps and switching them out.
I think the problem was is that it just got so corroded is what happened, that it just
Yeah.
locked up. So,
So, but we haven't been running salt for what, 2 years? Is what?
yeah, I think it's been at least that. I think it's been longer than that maybe. Wait
So
till
we
it-
might be able to put the pumps on the yearly rotation and just changing them out
Clean.
on rotation.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. Because we're running on one pump now and everything's going fine, so I don't know why we couldn't, make sense, you know what I'm saying? Take one down, clean it up, and then do the other one, so,
Yeah. That's just a scheduled maintenance thing.
yeah. Okay, good deal. Good
Just,
deal.
and I know, I'm, like I said, I'm just spitballing.
Yeah, right.
Way
Yeah, we'll
out,
come up
to
with
see what
something
we
and
get
make
for
it
the
work.
bill.
Yeah, we'll know something here, I think they said be here by the weekend maybe, so.
The other time?
2 of them, yeah, you ordered 2 of them, we're gonna keep the one that's running now, or we're gonna keep one of the new ones as a spare, in case something happens again. So, alrighty, another thing, interlocal agreement, and I think Zach's got that ready, so,
So I think there's 2 parts. There's a new ordinance establishing the Sheriff Inmate Community Work Fund, which is what the interlocal agreement, the funds in that fund will be used for the interlocal agreement. It's a non-reverting fund and everybody should have a copy of that, as well as a copy of the interlocal agreement, which I think was already approved by City of Austin and City of.
yeah, it's already approved by them, and actually the commissioners had already approved it too,
Yeah,
so.
we did.
We just haven't
Okay.
had a chance to sign it yet, so.
Okay.
Well, I think it went to the council, didn't it? And the council kind of questioned
There were some minor changes.
where the money was going to be.
There were also some minor changes to the actual language in the interlocal agreement. Specifically, I think on page 1, it was just some of the recitals, and then on page 2, like some minor spelling errors, and then page 2, number 7, there was some language removed that kind of conflicted with the effective date that is on paragraph 19,
Okay.
as well as some language removed.
So
from
we're
number
good
6.
with how it is now.
Yeah.
And just to clarify, we're talking about the city of Austin, the city of Scottsburg, and the county going together and using county jail inmates to do
Mowing and
work,
stuff, yeah.
cleaning up and mowing and stuff in either one of the cities.
This is to pay for somebody's garden.
Yeah, what it is Austin's giving 10,000, Scottsburg's giving 10,000, and what we're doing now is, it's like, this week, they were still trying to get some stuff organized, but it'll be like, next week it'll start out, they'll be at Scottsburg Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Austin Tuesday, Thursday, and then the following week, they'll be at Austin Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Scottsburg Tuesday and Thursday. And if something comes up, like Scottsburg's having something special that they need them there a couple, 2 or 3 days, then they'll make the days up the next week, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So,
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm for it.
I think we already made a motion, but I guess let's do it again since we've changed some stuff.
I'll make a motion to pass ordinance number 2021-013, having sheriff inmate community work fund.
Yeah, what he said second.
Agree to the interlocal.
And
And the interlocal agreement or whatever, it is, yeah.
Randy,
Did I
John
get
makes
that?
a motion, Randy seconds that motion, and I'll make that unanimous, so. And again, this gives the sheriff and inmates the opportunity to get out and help the community while they're in prison.
Do you guys mind to pass around a couple of copies so we can send one to each city?
They've already got them signed. Oh,
We
your
changed
part,
the
yeah,
language
okay,
again.
okay, my bad.
We're talking about both these?
Yeah, if you don't mind, sign 2 copies and then sign the ordinance. You can just do one on the ordinance.
I got one here, Mike.
Yeah.
And then every bit of that money will go back to paying, like I said, the
Unless
guards.
you need
so.
another one.
Here, I can restate this one.
And I think we've, got caught up since the rain too, and all the county properties now. We got kinda stalled there a little bit because all the rain we had, so. They're caught up now.
No, it was a dry spell.
Yeah, oh yeah. Extremes follow one another, don't they?
And we got all we need
I
here.
think we got them all.
I got 2 of those.
We got Randy's signing this other one
We need
here.
something else here.
There's an agreement.
Okay.
Need one more agreement. No. I think that's gonna be one.
All right. What else you got?
Next thing is the tower I talked to you about, the one beside the jail. I'm glad Jeff's here because he knows more about it actually, you know what I'm saying, than what I do. But it mentioned that Ispakek was looking for a place maybe to put some repeaters. And I didn't want to take that tower down because we'd already talked about taking it down. But I didn't want to do anything until, because if they wanted it, they'd be renting it or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So Jeff, do you know anything about that? Have you heard anything else or?
Just told you they're gonna come in next Tuesday and talk to us.
Okay,
They did their study, not on your tower, but mine.
okay, so I'm good then.
What they're telling me is that would significantly improve Scottsburg tremendously, not much anyplace else.
Okay,
So we're saying we need ideally 3 tower sites for the 800 system.
if they would take if we gave them the tower at the jail, and they would take it out to Hardy Lake, would it be worth them to take that and put it up if they?
We talked about that, and they have agreements with most of the cell companies,
Mhm.
so there's a possibility they could put equipment on Verizon and AT&T's towers.
Okay.
And Verizon's getting ready to put a tower up on their road out by Hardy Lake,
Okay, good.
so we'll have to look into that.
Okay.
Didn't they already get the permit for that tower?
They have, and I checked on that over the weekend, and there's no sign that anything is going on yet.
Okay. So they have issued
Okay.
the permits, or we have, so.
So what I'll do is, then if you don't care, I'll just go ahead and continue on about getting it taken down and getting rid of it. Is that okay?
Yeah,
All righty.
that bird catcher.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Next thing is I didn't know if you guys had come up with like an auction date, if you was gonna try to do an auction this year or not. And the only reason why I'm asking that is because we got a bunch of junk down there at John Jones that we pulled down there because we thought we was gonna have an auction, you know what I'm saying? So,
I would,
That's actually on one of my things.
okay, go ahead.
More of this.
If you got some stuff down there, enough stuff for us to hold an auction, then I know you do, and you had that smaller auction just with guns and stuff, so.
That'd be my thoughts of what we ought to think about auctioning off anyway.
You don't like that crane? It's just running joke.
Mark man.
Looks like he's got 16 items or something here.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
sure
it-
the county, the courthouse has probably got some stuff they wanna,
well, there's
Probably
like, I think 3
liquidate.
bays full of stuff down there
yeah.
too.
So I think we have enough to do an auction. I think we.
Sure, there's other things that we dug around down there,
Yeah.
some of the big items that we'll bring up.
So I guess, my suggestion would be let's do it and then try to find a date that we could do it, and then, I don't, like I said, I don't have a problem doing that whatsoever. I know we kinda held off last year because of COVID and.
Last one they did right at the highway department, I think, didn't they? I
Huh?
think the last one they did right at the highway department.
No, we did it at John
That big
Jones,
one at
the old
John
John Jones building.
Okay.
Pardon what?
The big one with all the
What's
cars
wrong?
Yeah, we
and all
did it
that.
down, that's why Jerry took all his stuff down to John Jones.
Yeah, because it was down at the, yeah.
And,
Yeah, the rear end is transmission. It
so
won't-
anyway, let's, so
it won't sit in the back.
Whatever you gotta do.
I think we need to do it, we can find a date to do it, sometime this summer or sometime soon, I don't care when it is, and find somebody to do it.
If you don't care too, what I'd like to do is the stuff that we got on the leasehold program that we got at the John Jones, that we checked everything out. If we can just pull it down there where we had the other stuff at the county highway garage, put it back here out of the way, that way it'll be completely out of the way and we won't have to worry about it.
Is that stuff you're gonna put in the cell?
It won't be this year, we'll have to wait till next year.
Okay.
But you're gonna go ahead and move it down.
Well, we'll move it down here in the county highway thing, get it out of the
Get
way.
with Kevin and see what, if you tell him where to do it, cause I'm sure he's moving stuff.
Yeah, we got a spot, we just moved those places out or
Well,
something.
better
We just-
spot, I mean, it'd be best for us to have it there, because it'll be,
Yeah.
I'm trying to move on.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Okay, sounds good to me. So I guess, we'll come up with a date, somebody wants to beat around a date or,
We have to look at the schedule for all
You
the
know,
festivals
it's
first.
June,
Yeah.
probably some, I mean, we need 2 or 3 months anyway, till October sounds. I mean, that stuff, you gotta move it all, take time to get all that stuff moved.
I think you'll have to look
I'm
at all.
throwing out a date of October, I don't.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say, that's what I was telling Mike, he'd agreed there, maybe have to look at the schedule of all the festivals going on
Yeah.
first, you know what I'm saying? Don't know when they're all scheduled, so.
so. I guess kick it around, find a date, find a auctioneer, if somebody wants to do it, so.
Okay.
I'm good with that.
Alrighty, well, I'll tell you what we do is, if you want to, we've got a list of all the festivals over there. So, next meeting, I'll bring a list of
Find some
those.
dates.
Yeah, if that's alright, we can do that.
I don't have a problem with that.
Need to get it done, really.
And I guess- I know we probably have, I mean, since Kevin just showed a list of about 18 items, I guess I got a question, and I don't know how many you got or the county does, but I mean, and I know how we did it one time, or the one time I was here when we had an auction, is like every item was inventoried, everybody knew what pocket of the money that item went to. It might be a situation where the city of Austin, the city of Scottsburg might wanna bring some stuff too and just have a county-wide auction of the 2 municipalities and,
Could be, if we can have sections and they account for their own monies
Yeah.
and we account for ours.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, but it might be a bigger event if we have more
Everybody.
people involved, and I'm sure they got stuff they wanna get rid of
Government
too.
auction, so to speak.
Yeah. So, it
And
might
that
be
might
something.
Wouldn't hurt to buy them.
Yeah, cause I'm sure they got stuff they wanna get rid of, maybe it's not enough that they don't wanna have an auction on their own.
On their own, yeah.
So,
Help
so
us
anyway.
along with that.
Good deal.
Alright,
Moving on, the old Presbyterian church building, I think it's Presbyterian.
Nazarene.
Nazarene, sorry about that. Have you guys decided what you wanna do with that yet?
Let me throw something out here, and I think you guys, I know Randy, we talked about it, I don't know if Mike did or not. I happen to believe we need to do something with it, because it's gonna collapse on us one of these days, and we're gonna lose a important piece of our community here. I did have a merchant wanna buy it, and actually took him to it and showed it to him. I think we could probably use it for our own good, probably better. But I think, I just wanna stress, if we don't do something next couple of years, I don't know if that thing's gonna be salvageable. It's getting rough.
well, I heard about the person wanting to buy it, but preferably, we own the whole block. I would not want to sell to somebody that eventually we would wanna add another office building over there, or add on to the jail, or do something over there with the jail property, and have somebody else that owns a corner of our of the rest of the property. Marty, didn't you tell me sometime about something with the Preservation Alliance or the Historical Society or somebody?
I emailed each of you a copy of the form that I located. I checked with the city, and that is the form that they still use. And what you do is you fill it out and then submit it to them, and then they set up a meeting with their historic review board.
So are you saying that it is in their circle of
It is.
historical buildings? Okay, so that's gonna limit us on what we do, so.
And quite honestly, it doesn't matter to me which way we go. I prefer to keep it in the county, but I just think, I think we're running on borrowed time.
I would rather keep it in the county.
Well, I think we need to do some maintenance on it and.
It's gotta have a roof and it's just, there's just a lot of
I'd
things
say
that
you're
go
gonna
into
need
it.
everything. I mean.
Well, it's molding real bad. It's
Yeah,
getting
you're talking probably electric, water.
Yeah, it's gotta have a whole, it's gonna have, well, they estimated 350,000 when we got to, we was
Yeah,
gonna
and
get the
that's what,
grant, so.
this gentleman I was talking to him, I said, you couldn't afford what it takes to fix it up.
Mhm.
So,
We probably need to get some contractors to look at it and give us an estimate of getting it, I guess, stabilized, whether that's a new roof and some other stuff to keep.
Just to preserve it, if nothing
I think
else.
if we use it, I think the whole floor's gotta come out. I mean, if
Well, there's
you've been
two
in it-
floors in there, I think,
Yeah.
because there's.
You're right, there's
doing the
risers, but
There's
they
a floor
removed.
and then there's an elevated.
Yeah, you're
But
right.
it's actually coming through the roof, a couple rooms up there. You can
There
see
is,
where
but-
water's coming to it.
Yeah.
So, but it's,
As far as the floor goes, I think wouldn't be a bad idea to look at, just, well, I think I might have mentioned this before, but taking the floors out, putting floors around and pouring it full of concrete and just leveling it with concrete.
Yeah.
I think if you look on the northwest corner, water's just even quit draining down, it's just kind of collecting on that corner, you start seeing the bricks starting to pull apart.
Well, we need to get somebody to
You're
look at
right,
it,
we
get
need
us a price.
Yeah.
Cause I mean, I prefer to keep it because we own the rest of the block, and if we,
I agree.
you know, we're gonna do something down the road, we don't want somebody, you know, interfering.
It's kind of a liability problem too. We got, I don't know anything about the merchant building, but I mean, you got a jail there, we got trustees coming in and out.
I don't know anybody'd wanna put a business there unless it's a bail bondsman.
Well, yeah, I never thought about that. Yeah. Never thought about that. So, just kind of keep, yeah.
Well, I just want to throw it out, and, but I think we're all on the same page here, that we're gonna have to do something, or it ain't gonna be
Yeah, I
safe
think-
one of these days.
Yeah.
I think we need to reach out to a couple of contractors and get a price on stabilizing the building, whether it's, you know, bringing it up to, you know, electrical, plumbing and whatever. I mean, I know you said you already had that price once. And
Yeah.
I think,
I know I'm being mouthy tonight, but anyways,
I mean, you're saying 3 words?
I would like to see us write up a work scope so that all the contractors that look at that is bidding on the same exact
Yeah.
apples to
I agree with
apples
that.
work.
Yeah.
So everybody gets
So
a fair
for-
shot.
You know, and that is always the problem with having somebody give you a guesstimate or estimate. Because once we get that, anybody else wants to bid on it, knows
They're locked out.
somebody's, what they think it's gonna cost. Nobody come in and bid it for $100 cheaper or something.
Yeah.
Well, you're exactly
Yeah.
right, because there's times when we ask for an estimate on something, and then we put it out for bids, and then everybody else knows what somebody else
Knows what it
wanted.
is, so yeah, we'd have to,
Yeah,
I don't know how the best way to do that is, but
Well,
we gotta do something.
I think we just, you know, it doesn't cost much. I think maybe just hire a inspector, go in there and write up
You're
everything.
probably right,
Go
if
off
people do that professionally, it's not gonna even don't even wanna do the work.
I'm sorry.
You're right, there's people, inspection companies that do that, they don't want the work, they just wanna come in and tell us what it's gonna cost and what's
Right.
gonna. That's probably the best route to go. Yeah.
Let's,
I don't know who that would be, but Ben could probably tell from Harding.
Well,
Back to you again, Margaret.
She's gonna do it.
Yeah,
No, I'm not.
we're talking about his inspector.
are you afraid of bats?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Good, because there's a dead one laying right in the.
Yeah.
it's gone.
So you
It's
walk in the
gone.
door, there's one
It's
going.
gone now.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, a rat must have got it. It's gone, yeah.
somebody was walking down the street with it.
I thought about getting chalk out and drawing water.
How many years has that been empty now?
Oh, Lord, I don't know.
It's been,
I think, is it not the oldest church in Scottsburg? I've always,
No,
it's not?
it started out as the Baptist church.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the Baptist church moved and all.
Yeah.
I believe the Presbyterian church is the oldest in
Okay.
the community.
I've seen pictures of both of them like 100 years ago. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll keep reminding you, you know what I'm saying?
well,
We
I
see
think
it every day over
we,
there, so-
we need to figure out how we can do this without tainting the oil, or the,
Integrity of it.
tainting the, I guess, the bid process of how we can get somebody to give us an estimate without giving us an estimate, so that we know the ballpark of
Well,
what
yeah,
we
if
need.
everybody knew what it was and they could.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we need to also, like what Randy was talking about, we need to go in and say, we need a price on a roof, electrical, plumbing, and replace the floor
And like you
make
said, at least to stabilize it.
and make sure the walls are stable and everything else, and give that scope of an estimate to somebody. Go, you give us an estimate on these items, and whether it's, I guess the electrical, whether it's a 100 amp box or a 200 amp box or whatever, so.
Yeah, because I mean, I could go over there and I could show them everything, but the thing is, I could show 5 people the same thing, and all 5 people is gonna read that differently, what I just said.
Well, but if you go in there and go, I want, 20 outlets in this building, and everybody's gonna bid 20 outlets in that building, and a sink and a commode and a, whatever, so, but if it needs to be apples to
And on the
apples.
use of it, what the use gonna do.
Yeah,
Well, I'll throw this out.
but I'd like, you're talking about the use, I mean, right now, I would leave it to like what Jerry's talking about, is that, and it's talked about before, is that, he has meetings with inmates and outside organizations coming in and speaking with inmates, that maybe that's something that he could utilize over there.
Yeah.
And also, when it's not being used for that, it can be used for any other county, entity that
Function,
wants
yeah.
to use it for, some sort of meeting over there, so.
Yeah, I'm good with that too. I just don't wanna lose it.
No, you're right.
So, yeah. All righty, next thing is, I think Josh contacted you about, in front of the jail there, the Sallyport area there, about, bulldozing that out and putting a drain in and all that, and pouring some concrete too. He's supposedly getting some estimates on that for us, so see what that's gonna cost, so try to clean that up, and then, of course, we got a water problem there anyway, so we'll try to see what that costs, so. And Josh is, getting estimates on that. Next thing is the flagpole. Josh is trying to get some stuff done on that. The flagpole's broke. We can't raise it above half staff, the flag. That's why it's been flying at half staff for the last month.
What's, is the pulley broke?
Yeah, some kind of internal stuff, Josh says. I don't know anything about flagpoles or how they operate, you know
So
what I'm saying?
is that the one that's got the stuff that goes inside of it?
It's metal cord on the inside, yeah. So he said it's a specialty item that he's got somebody from up in Michigan City, Indiana somewhere has to come and do, so. He said when the guy comes down, he's got 2 other flagpoles here in the county he wants him to look at, so some on county
One
property,
at the
so.
museum, we get him.
Yeah, he mentioned the
Actually,
museum.
that's been on my short list. The fire department's supposed to go down there and fix that one.
Well, I told
We were
Josh,
waiting
you
for the
know,
ground to harden up a little bit to get a truck out on it, so.
well, I told Josh, I said, even if we had to go by, a standard, you know what I'm saying, to put, or build it ourselves, fix it, just to put a pulley on it to make it work right. I don't care, you know what I'm saying, just so we can try to get it fixed. So it's no big deal. What we gotta do to make it happen, so.
But
He's
he-
taking care of that
But
too,
he's got
so.
somebody coming.
Yeah, he's got a guy supposedly that's gonna come down and,
Sometimes the cost of repairing it might be cheaper just to buy you a new
that's
pole.
what I was kinda wondering.
They're not cheap,
No, depending on what you're buying.
yeah.
That's why I just wondered, if we just go up there and put a pulley at the top, weld a pulley at the top, weld a pulley at the bottom, and put a hook on,
Yeah.
you ain't gonna be able to tell no
What
difference.
you got now, the crank, isn't it?
Yeah.
You go in there and
Yeah. So, I'll get with Josh on that too, we'll get it figured out, so. Alrighty, on the auction, very happy to say that, we made a little over $57,000.
Wow.
So,
Good job.
yeah, we're very pleased about that. We had to use it, what the law reads is anything that was a firearm or firearm related has to go into the firearms training fund. So, all the guns and the ammo that we sold goes into that firearms training fund, and it's what it's used for is for firearms training, firearms ammunition, firearms purchases by the department. And the other stuff that we sold would go into the state auction fund that we have at the department where we could buy other equipment for. So we was very, very pleased. We sold everything we had, so we was very, very happy.
I'm just curious, I don't think the gun permit law, We don't do gun permits anymore,
No, and,
but the state's reimbursing the amount of money.
well, they don't know yet, because I just
Okay.
got an email from the Sheriff's Association, and what they want to know is what monies that we had made on gun permits for the last 2 years.
Yeah,
So I just sent that to them. So I don't know that they know exactly what's gonna happen yet with
I
that.
think my curiosity would be, is my gun permit even worth anything anymore?
I don't think they are.
Well,
I've got a lifetime of it, yeah.
well, no, I think,
Yeah.
and if they went ahead and passed it this way, I know they was talking about it, but, so you still, from my understanding, you still have to come, before
For a
you,
lifetime.
to, basically just, you're just saying, you know, you're not a felon and that's it, and there's no cost. But they still have to come to you, and there's still maybe a little bit of a processing fee?
Well, I don't think, what they told us was this, it's all gonna be done online now, because what they did is they took all the fingerprinting stations,
Yeah.
like that Identigo, because we had one of them at our jail, they took them out of all the jails in Indiana, because we won't be doing any
Yeah,
fingerprinting,
Identi-
nothing at
yeah.
all.
But there was something to do with, I think, every 4 years you had to touch base with them.
Really?
And I think like me and you, where we got the lifetime, you don't have to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You don't have to go through that system. But
and they can always.
They
take it
told
away
us to
from you.
stand by is what they said, so.
But I didn't
that's why
think
don't know
anybody
what the-
knew
you know what
we
I'm
even
saying,
had to have a
the
permit
is, so.
anymore.
yeah,
Are you talking about the new law
The
that,
new law, I don't think you have to have a gun permit.
Actually, I think it's
Yeah.
not until 2022.
Yeah, you have to have a permit, but
There's
it's
no
not gonna
fee.
cost you anything,
Okay,
right.
yeah.
The thing with it is you got, Indiana's doing the open carry where you don't have to have a permit. The concealed carry, plus a lot of people are still doing the permits for the reciprocity. Like if you go to
Out of state.
26, 29 other states that recognize.
so you still have to have a permit, there's just not a fee.
but how do they?
Well, my concern was how much money you're gonna lose over this.
Oh, yeah, because that's what they said, they're supposed they're gonna
For every
reimburse
police
us.
department.
Yes, they said they was gonna reimburse, the loss of fees, that's why they wanted to know how much we had made in the last 2 years on those handgun
So the
licenses.
winner on me would be the citizen, who doesn't have to pay a fee anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
See, I thought the county was still gonna make money off of it, but the state wasn't gonna make any.
no, I don't think anybody's gonna make any money on it, like I said,
And
what's
this
gonna
was
happen
early
is.
on when I heard this, so I don't know.
Yeah, and they still don't know, because that's what they told us to stand by, because they couldn't give us anything definite. And here it is, you know what I'm saying, June the 16th, so they haven't told us anything
But
definite yet.
the law's
so-
in effect now?
No, not till July the 1st.
Okay, after that, there'll be no more money coming in.
Right,
Yeah, okay.
yeah,
Which is how you buy all your ammunition and,
yeah, I'm glad we had the auction.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, picked the right time for it.
Yeah, so,
I bet some of them old guns are there from my time.
there was a lot of old stuff there. There were some slingshots and muskets we found. But there's a lot of old stuff, we've got some stuff. Of course, we was able to dispose of I think it was one full dump truckload full of stuff. Just old stuff that was in the evidence room that was just not worth anything, old paraphernalia and different things like that that we got the court order to destroy. It was, so,
Tommy gun's still there, isn't it?
yeah.
Can't get rid of that one, I don't.
No, it's down there locked up.
I always wanted to display it, but I was always afraid to.
Somebody'd
Break
steal
the
it,
glass
yeah.
out and take it home with them.
Well, you know what, we thought about that, because we was gonna be able to display in the front, we was like, man, if we did, and somebody, it's just,
Yeah, we took it out and shot it a few times. It was like, had Greg Martin over, he loved it.
All right, last thing I got is, we are having a fundraiser. I spoke to Mike about this a little bit already. We have got a pig, I've talked to Johnny and Randy. We've got a pig over in front of the jail. It was donated by the concrete lady. Steve Rummage, who is a inmate, has painted it. He did a daggone good job on it. The boy needs to be
Who's
an
it
artist
look like?
somewhere. Well, we ain't decided that yet. You know what I'm saying? We've had a few names mentioned, you know what I'm saying? But, and what we're gonna do is this, we're raising money for the refuge in Austin, the children's home. So what we're gonna do is Friday, we're gonna put an announcement out that, come and get your picture taken with the pig and leave a donation, in the box there. Of course, we're not making anybody charge, it's a free will donation. So we're gonna run that about 2 or 3 months probably, and then we're gonna donate the pig to the refuge. And then they can do what they want to with it after that. And then after we get rid of that, what I want to do is I want to get with you guys and see what you think about getting some type of a nice statue, like a guardian angel statue, or you see where I'm coming from, to put there for permanent. You know what I'm saying? Something that'll be nice, it'll be there permanent. We can get together on that, where you guys, you know, we can come up with something you guys think would be good to put there for some permanent. Yeah, but,
I want to see that.
some good news, I'll tell you this is.
I don't.
Is it shirtless? What I was gonna tell you was that, we're gonna put that out Friday. I had this is pretty exciting. For us anyway, I had a company, here that we were doing this, and they contacted me today, and they wanted to be the first people to donate, and they, donated $1,000 already, before we even got it, you know what I'm saying, kicked off. So, we had our picture taken, with the FOP and with the chief of polices, you know what I'm saying, of all 3 police departments too, so.
For a
Just make
good
sure
cause.
everything's kosher. Oh, absolutely,
good cause.
absolutely. If you,
Refuge, I toured it last week. It's, they're gonna have 10 children there. It's a transitional care. When you have a foster home, sometimes you can't get a kid into a foster home and they'll stay out there. And then they can keep them in school, do some things rather than send them to a lockup facility in Jackson County or something. So it's good all the way around, plus it helps, it keeps, there'll be some, I know there's money with it, but it keeps it at least in the county.
yeah, it keeps our kids at home.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right. You guys got anything for me?
Thank you.
All right. If you guys need anything, let me know. I'll let you know about the other stuff we got going on. So. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Sweet.
EMS update. Paramedic, program appointments, looks like.
So the co-eds.
Congratulations, first of all.
Appreciate it. We were featured in the Clark County, Scott County Hospital deal. They put that out once a month. So last month they did a feature on us. Kyle's in the bottom of the second page or third page there. And on the very back we have the historical truck.
Yeah.
So we got quite a bit of PR out of that. That goes to all the EMS services in this area that services Clark and Scott counties. So we do have that. So the co-amps, basically what this is the accrediting body. You guys signed it last week. There was a couple typos. I just went ahead and fixed it. So I'll just have you guys sign it again. Just, Mike, you can sign it. I brought the old copy just as well.
Right. Good to sign this, just to clarify the
Yeah, and it's Heather.
typos.
Yeah, it's Heather's.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So I'm here on the signature line?
Yes, sir. Yeah, you're the dean.
And this is where you're appointing Heather Woods.
As
That's
the
one.
dean.
Make that motion because we were gonna ratify that. Heather as the program director, that's the one you're signing.
So we need to do it again, or we already did it once, didn't
We
we?
were gonna ratify that because that was,
That's what we held off on, but we
Yes.
signed it. Okay,
Yes.
all right, I get it.
Yeah.
Well, I need a motion to appoint Heather Woods as the program director for the EMS paramedic program, so.
I'll make that motion.
John
That's who
makes
you
a
wanted,
motion.
wasn't it? Yeah.
John made a motion, Randy second, and I'll make that unanimous, and I'll sign the paper.
That was for the lead instructor, which will be me. Nothing's changed. There was just some typos.
And I'll entertain a motion to make appoint Shannon Mount as the lead instructor for the EMS, Scott County EMS paramedic program.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Don makes a motion, Randy seconds, I'll make that unanimous.
So basically what this is a CV and it is also our work history. They need that as well as they have our college degree stuff. Our transcripts had to be mailed straight from the college, so they have all that on file. So just to let you know, this paper is to take Bob Tobias off. Congratulations, Mike, you're now a dean. Very
Does that pay any different?
Nope.
Yeah.
So just let you know, I still have to send that in with it as well, which I will. I'm gonna go back and send it tonight. It has to be in by Friday, so, we have that going on.
I didn't say place, do I need to sign that?
No, you don't. I'm just letting you know
Yeah.
we're changing. And we have to change that, so whoever becomes the president next year has to have that changed yearly. We'll
Yeah.
put that up, so just letting you know. Some information for you. This is on the helicopter deal. This is both services of how much they've done in the county since January to now. Just bringing it up. We've met with AREVAC twice, or Air Methods twice. Chad is the state area rep. We have stats from Stat Flight 2 for the month of May, plus we have everything from January to May 31st of how many flights and who's being called on it. So basically what we're gonna try to do, we've been getting some aircraft out of Corden, and basically we wanna stop that. We're just gonna start driving them down. We're only gonna use Air Methods out of Milton, Kentucky, which is the closest aircraft. And then it would be Stat Flight 2 out of Seymour. If one of those are down for mechanical issues or pilots issues, the other one would go in its place. That's basically all there is. There's nothing signed to it. It's just kind of what we're doing.
Actually, go ahead, I'm sorry.
The Air Methods does have all their lift times. I have asked Eric to get that. I have no affiliation with either one. The only person I know at Seymour is Johnny Collins, which used to be the coroner in Madison. And I know a couple of the crew members over at Madison. I don't have any links to either one. But we need to, instead of calling the Corden aircraft up here, which could take up to 20 to 30 minutes for that flight time, we can have them sitting at University or Children's Hospital downtown.
So you're making your pick at court news. Quickest
Closest.
response.
Who can get up? If it's weather issue and if there's some,
And if one couldn't, you could always call the other.
if we got weather to the east,
Yeah.
or if we have weather to the north,
Yeah,
that's the only thing we're trying to do. I'm not trying to cut anybody out of anything.
yeah.
Well,
Have they,
go ahead.
have they proved themselves to be quicker than?
You know, there's still, the time from Air Methods is pretty concise. I know there's been some contact, some talk about it being longer. I'm getting that information from Stat Flight 2 out of Seymour, as far as how long it takes to get up in the air. I know, some, depends on what's going on. I'm not gonna sit here and quote exact numbers.
Well, I mean, I guess what I'm asking is, have you ran a sample test with other counties that's using them to see what their flight time records are
I haven't,
before switching?
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I haven't.
I think that's something,
And that's kinda why we've not done nothing official. We're just seeing what they got. I mean,
yeah.
we just wanted options.
I mean,
Well-
I can understand that flying quicker, or being here, less distance, I understand that, but that
Yeah, but-
doesn't mean they respond to the calls fast.
I guess my question is, and I had a meeting with the account director for Air Methods as well. We have a signed document with them, year-to-year contract, correct?
I've not seen the written signed contract.
I know there is one. 'Cause-
Well, I'm not saying. there's
I know,
one.
but there is a contract with Air Methods to be the first call, and the first call is only that 911's gonna call Air Methods and say, do you have a helicopter available? And it is the closest one, so the first one out would be Bedford, and if it's, and if Bedford can't fly, or they're on another flight, the second flight would be to Stat Flight out of Seymour. And you're right, the third one would be back to Corden, which is, 15 minutes or whatever away from here. And you're right, most of the time, if you're, on the scene, and depending on where the scene's at, and you can transport, by ground,
Yeah.
probably faster.
And we had that situation today at Mary Ann's. We had a guy who was having some paralysis after hitting his head we called stat flight, it was gonna be 20 minutes. We just opted to go down the interstate, we checked the traffic first.
Yeah.
And that's what we're gonna do. If we're on top of the interstate, that's what we're gonna start doing, because we're losing money on the transports.
Yeah.
It's not about the money, but some of my people are wanting to do critical care stuff, and this is the only way they're gonna get that experience, and that's what we need to do.
Well, I mean, I get that. Also, I mean, there's sometimes over the years, it's easy to say, call a helicopter, and sometimes, you know, that helicopter has saved lives because of
Right.
the quickness or whatever of them getting the patient to a critical care unit. But I guess my question here is, and I mean, after talking with Chad, is that I think there is an agreement out there. I think it was signed in 2016. It was a 3-year contract and then a year to year after that. So I'd prefer to stay with Air Methods
Right.
to be the first call, and Stat Flight being the second one, because I've been out there, and I mean, I'm just talking from my experience with the helicopters, is that it seemed like Stat Flight, the couple of times that I've seen them on the ground, and I know Johnny too, I've known him forever, is that sometimes it takes them forever to get there, it seems like. I mean, and I'm not saying that there's not a problem with weather or,
Right.
you know, communications of getting one to the other, but I prefer to stay like we have been doing, and especially if we have a contract, because talking with Chad the other day, I asked him to get me a copy of the contract, and he's supposed to be tweaking that somewhat and getting it to us, so. As soon as I get it, I'll bring it to the next meeting or something.
Jeff and I and Danny had a meeting with him on Tuesday, so we're actually gonna meet with Stat Flight in July. Chad's gonna be there, and we're just gonna say we need to work together, use our resources, and do that.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, they're both doing the same thing. I mean,
it's not about preference. It's just, and I've told my people from now on, just helicopters, all we need to ask for. We're not asking for a specific service. I don't think that that's fair to anybody in particular. We'll just say aircraft.
well, first of all, you don't know who's available.
Right.
Somebody might be out on a flight, somebody might have a helicopter down, somebody might have, you know, don't wanna fly in the weather, or somebody says, I'll fly.
And a lot of times I know that they have pilots timeout, and that's the only reason why we're looking at doing that. And to be honest, we shouldn't be pulling from Cordon's aircraft. I mean, they're servicing a large service area down to Owensboro as well, so.
Well, the other part of this is the fact that,
It's a
Yeah.
wobbler.
huh?
It's a wobbler.
Anyway, is that when you call, whether it's Air Methods or whatever, there's one dispatcher for helicopters around here. And that dispatcher's gonna call whoever you're telling to call, whether it's Air
Yes.
Methods Bedford, or Stat Flight Seymour, or PHI, or whoever else is out there.
I can tell you what my people do. If we call Air Methods, they have been instructed to say, is Kentucky 11 available?
And
If they answer no, then we ask for the next closest unit.
Well, and that's what I said, their dispatch knows that. I mean, it rolls up on their screen of who's the next closest. I mean, so,
I mean, it doesn't matter to me or my people. I would say the biggest difference is, and we ran into this, Air Methods dispatches in Salt Lake City. Stat Flight is dispatched out of Indianapolis. So if we call Stat Flight and say, hey, it's Scott County, they know it's Indiana. We ran into it when we call Air Methods, and their dispatchers out in Utah, and we say Scott County, Indiana, and they've gotten it mixed up before and actually started the helicopter towards Scott County, Kentucky.
And that has
So
happened.
which is giving us the quickest response?
They're all, Stat Flight and Air Methods are about the same. If you throw the cord in, they have the BK-117, their startup is going to be longer compared to the other two, because they're smaller helicopters.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter to me either, I just wanna make sure the public gets the fastest response
That's
possible.
my biggest thing is if we
Yeah, I
call Air Methods in Utah, it's happened before, and they got it mixed up and started the helicopter to Scott County, Kentucky.
You don't want me to get started on 911, so, because
But
I appreciate that.
none of them have a.
we get caught in Scottsburg trying to figure out which fire department's gonna get called to which run, so. So I think that's apples and oranges, and it may happen once in a lifetime, so, but.
Well, I'm trying to figure out the point was, you have to call Salt Lake City for one, call Indianapolis the other. And I think when you said that, I was getting the impression maybe it caused a delay in,
No.
so what's the purpose of, what's it make a difference where they call?
Air Methods is national.
Well, I get that, but I was trying to figure out what he was trying to say.
He was saying that they're not familiar with Scott County, Indiana, and they're
Which
thinking
could
Scott
cause
County, Kentucky, but.
It's happened once.
But that could cause
I'm
a
not
delay,
saying it
couldn't it?
happens all the time, but it has happened once.
Okay.
And I'm just saying that it doesn't matter to me who we call.
It doesn't make it either, as long as we get somebody.
Same
The
flight.
bottom
time.
line is if you're just, all you're saying is that, first call out, and there's not gonna be a third call.
Nope. When we talked to Chad about that.
I guess my question would be this, is, if you have a multiple car accident on the interstate, and you have multiple, so would you call Corden then?
Yes, and if, in that letter that I've sent to all three, it states that when I-65 construction starts, we will consider having Corden come up, because if the wreck's between us and the open road, then we're gonna have to have that aircraft in that closed off area to land, so we're gonna have to use them once that construction starts.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to prepare for when the construction starts, and work all the kinks out before then.
Okay.
That way we can have access to the interstate, or hopefully the fire departments will have some access to whatever side's closed.
Okay.
Hired 2 paramedics, 1 full-time, Joe Mickna, and I've hired Trey Langdon. He was one of our graduates, so far out of the paramedic program, all but 4 have tested, and they've all passed on the first go-around, which is part of Indiana's new set 85% pass rate the first time in the paramedic, which is the first time they've ever had that. So I don't know if it's because of COVID making a big difference in more study time, or what's going on. So
Good.
we got 3 people that are interested that are gonna be EMTs finishing up here the 26th. One of them is a member of the fire department, so he's wanting to stretch his legs a little bit. And we have 2 girls if you're wanting to come on full time. I'm not for sure what Ryan wants to do yet. Randy on resurface in the parking lot. I talked to Temple and All-Star. Temple and I talked on Monday. They will not seal chip it. But they asked me to call Nelson's. I have called Canepa here in town for a quote. I haven't gotten a quote from him yet. I have one into Nelson's over at Salem, so they're gonna be getting me a quote on sealing the parking lot.
Okay.
So just letting you know, seal the parking lot, fill in the cracks, and stripe it.
Wait a minute. Kevin, do you know anybody that chip seals?
Actual parking lot?
I know it's a small job, but
Yeah. I don't know if I have the equipment, so.
And that was kind of what All-Star's deal was. It was too small of a project for them to bring their stuff down and do it. And Temple said they just don't do it. So
Did All-Star have the equipment for that?
I think they do, but they're doing bigger projects. Probably like up at Iceland or something like that. They're doing large parking lots. So I don't.
So you just need some work done on your parking lot?
Yeah, we just need to seal it.
just needs a seal coated, but it's got some cracks, and I'm trying to get it.
And
I
that's
would
what-
like to see it got,
Right.
stave off being repaired.
And that's what Nelson was gonna include in their price, was the seals. in
So
those
right now,
cracks.
you're just getting prices?
Right, because I don't know how much it's gonna cost.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, except for the cracks, I can go up to Ace Harbor and get 5-gallon buckets and do it.
Well,
So,
there's a lot of local people that seal
Right.
coat, so.
right.
Yeah.
So I'm not going with any one specific person.
FEMA grant, I talked to them Monday, and it is still in the processing stage at the FEMA level, so I'm waiting on them to get me back the information on that, and that is through Texas, and they're still processing the information. There is a Medicaid reimbursement for items bought between March last year and February of this year in the state of Indiana, so we are going to be filling out that grant as well for the equipment purchased specifically for COVID. So, Safe Haven update, we've got many donations. We are going to have a banner once we get all the donations to honor everybody that's done that so far. I think we're right at about, what, $2,500?
Probably, I've looked myself.
And I have talked to some more people. KSC's, we're gonna be going out there within the next 2 weeks. The hospital's gonna be coming on board. They're gonna see what they can do as far as donating, the United Way. So also having a hospital meeting with the hospital and about the patient care for the baby once it's delivered. So we are having those discussions at this point. Scott Memorial will be the first medical contact for us out there, making sure that the baby's okay. Hospital operations, Scott Edwards will be leaving. He's going to North Carolina for his permanent assignment.
I didn't know that.
Next Friday is his last day. So as of this point, from what I was told on Monday with a meeting with administration, Martin Paget, which is the CEO, will be up here 1 day a week, and Della Stinnett will be our contact for anything else operations wise or the DON. This is what she is. So we'll be talking with her as well. Classes, advanced EMT class starts next month. Paramedic class starts in August. Basic EMT starts in August. We're doing away with the high school program. We only had 5 people in it, only 2 finished. It's just not worth us to do it. We need to have at least 10 butts in the seat. We didn't have nearly enough, so we're cutting that. However, with the NAMT class, the instructor class, and the safeties and emergency vehicle operations courses, we're picking up quite a few people. Got to deal with Morgan's now. They're sending their ERT team down to us, and we're doing a lot of training for Morgan's and their ERT team. So Charles Burke is who I've been dealing with that. He's the head dude. So we are doing quite a bit with that. And Tri-Hawk also, we've contacted him. We're going to go do a walkthrough as well as Morgan's. So I don't know if you guys or the fire department will be interested in going. I know it's Austin, but if you were up there and want to come with us.
Okay.
Also the basement, because apparently with all the new modernization, they've changed how they do their stuff. They're going to be doing some more modernization of facilities. So we kind of need to know what's going on. So guys, kind of look at your calendars, see what your available are.
You don't have a date set already?
No, I don't. I'm gonna get with them here next week. So we can get Tri-Hawk. I know they're getting ready to do some construction there again. We're gonna go down in the basement just in case something happens down there. We'll get a full tour of the place. So we're trying to get as many people up here as we can to go through that. So that's pretty much all I got.
Good thing. Questions? No.
I told John, you guys, I'm mowing the field behind the station in the woods. So the hospital, I know, I think you're,
My son mows the hospital.
yeah, he did the hospital, so that same week I'm trying to keep tag with him. I got with Mike the other day on taking that dirt mound down out back, using it to soften up or level out the yard from the construction from the building originally. So I'm gonna get that equipment next week. Smooth all that out. The hospital gave us a bunch of dirt that they had back there. We're going to utilize that, clean up some of that brush, make it easier to mow, so that way we can keep it down. The one thing is I need help with is the neighbors on that road. When it floods, and I've got pictures when it rains, there's nowhere for the water to go. There's been a bunch of neighbors saying that they've been tearing up their cars on that grading, so we need to get that grading cleaned out.
Talking about
That
beyond
drain.
us?
No, right next to our station, there's a drain that comes across from so I don't know if that's city, if that's.
It's sitting.
So,
You're talking about right in front of your place where it tees.
well, there's that place, and then there's the one to the backside on the west, behind the VA clinic. There's a grading that goes across, it's full of dirt, so we need to get that. We need to get that, and also have pictures when the water stands, same way with the snow.
Okay.
We got a lot of drainage. And I have called Jill,
I'll give it to Jason after that.
so I know Jason does have the equipment, to do that. And we've got to clean out our, pipe there, because it seems like it's a little bit above grade for that water to drain out there, so. And it actually goes down into retention pond on the back side of the apartments. So just to let you guys know. But that's all I got. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Highway Department, update. Here comes the guy gonna ask for mine.
You don't ask, you don't get it.
That's true.
Can't say no, can you?
So, I will chime in on your parking lot. We do have a new oil buggy at the county highway with the spray wand and the bars, never had oil in it yet.
Talking about for maybe sealing them?
Yeah, it would work for that. So,
So we can get the product?
yeah, we can get the product. I can check into that tomorrow and see best route for
You
it.
said you'd already talked to the mayor, or did I?
No, he's talking about it EMS.
The EMS parking lot.
Oh,
We have the new buggy, it actually has
Yeah,
that
okay.
spray wand on it,
Okay.
it could do the same job.
So we might be able to just do it ourselves.
I'll dig in and see what the material is and stuff like that.
Do we have time?
Do we have time? No, but, you know,
So when does he need it?
yeah, you know, maybe something we could work in, you know, pretty quick or in between or something, you know. Oh,
I
let's
hear
see.
you've been moving.
Been moving? Yeah.
I just want to say, I have heard a lot of good reports, everybody's saying that you're doing a really good job,
I appreciate it.
and really appreciate the job you're doing.
Well, I know you jumped in feet first, so,
We're good too.
yeah.
Well, I'll give you this, then you can just kind of ponder it over if you want to. This is kind of what we're thinking over the next several weeks. I met with the road bosses, that's kind of our goal is to hit, so. That's not the gospel per se, but it's just you know, kind of what we're going after. Yeah, that's what we're going after. As far as the auction goes, anything that I put on that list, I was gonna bring it, but you think maybe we ought to keep, or we wanna get ours on, just holler at me and we'll talk about them.
I was briefly talking to you there about that,
The
the
backhoe,
backhoe.
yeah,
You know, I was asking how many hours it's on it, but I guess the biggest question is it even feasible to use anymore?
well, I mean, you know, you compare the backhoe to the track hoe, you know, and it's
Right.
like comparison,
Or the mini.
we're always, to the mini, yeah, we're always gonna take the mini.
Right.
You know, as far as that goes. Kind of get my information from Kevin Sawyer, he's like, well, I think probably it's the rear end, maybe the transmission, we're not 100%, but it won't pull itself.
Right.
You know, so, and it's, you know, it's sitting back here on flat tires, which is a minor thing there, but, so yeah, I mean, basically that's what I know about it, it's 22 years old and it doesn't pull itself, so, you know, I'm trying to condense down so we can start getting our PMs and get our fleet where it's controllable, because it's not really controllable right now, I don't think.
That
So-
Challenger, is that new tractor we got? Not-
No, there's another
Okay.
Challenger, this is an older one, it's an '02 model.
Okay.
I was told the motor parts are laying in the cab, so it's.
Okay, I was talking about, cause I think we bought one at an auction a couple of years ago that
Yeah, we're
was
still
off
using
of a
it.
farmer that just didn't use it at all, but it was an older one, but it was like brand new, so.
Yeah,
So we're talking about two different
I think
animals.
that's what I think we are. There's a new Challenger that's running right now.
That's the one I'm talking
And
about.
the Alice, it has bad trans in it. You know, I don't know, it's 22 years old and it's, you know,
Well, the whole thing is, and I know Randy's, beat this list up and been down there looking at a lot of equipment and I'm gonna be honest, I don't know a lot about equipment, so if it's working and the value is there to fix it, then I'm about fixing it instead of it sitting there. And if it's not, then we need to get rid of it and try to find something that we can replace it with, so.
yeah, and you know, just doing easy math, you know, if you look at that and say, oh, it's $3,000 a piece to repair, that's $50,000 to repair on equipment that's holding more out, you know.
Yeah, Yeah, if you repair that one item that gets it rolling
You know-
again, there's gonna be something else that's gonna go wrong.
We have 2 Grados, and I guess that would be where I'm kinda in between on the Grados. So, they're extremely expensive to work on. We have the yellow one, which I think the only thing that's wrong with it right now is it's missing 2 gears, and they're higher gears, so it won't run real fast, but, you can survive with that. But as far as getting the fleet down to manageable, as far as working on them, I'm thinking, if we could condense that down and either use this money, for either a new service truck or maybe get another Mini, keep one grade on, get a new Mini, and get away from some of the repair bills on it, because they're outrageous.
Yep.
And they're hard to work on without a dealer, because they're so kind of on their own. So anyway.
On the other Grado,
Yeah.
I know it's ancient for a
Yeah.
Grado.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, how many hours did that thing, you know?
The yellow grid, as far as hours, I don't honestly know that exact hours. I just know that it's missing 2 gears in the transmission. I was told it operates good, as far as that goes, so.
Just gonna take you a while to get there.
Yeah, but I mean, it's, like the solenoids for those, this is expensive to maintain and work on, and
They are, but for me, I would like to see us keep that,
okay.
because I know you have a lot of ditching to do.
Yeah, and that one was kind of one of them that was kind of on the fence with me too. It's like,
Yeah.
well, it ain't eating anything. I guess if it totally goes down, it's going to be expensive repair then.
And they just don't resell for much.
Yeah, okay.
You don't get much out of them when you sell it.
So that's,
I think, drive it till it's completely fall apart, and then you can sell it, because you're gonna get the same amount of money out of it.
I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
I just wanna see the crane gone.
Yeah.
That's like
We want that for a
huge.
long time.
I mean, that's a dinosaur back there.
Scrap metal movie.
I walked back here and looked at it. I thought, oh my, we couldn't afford the tires for that, So, anyway, that's that. Randy's asked me about Green Acres, and I just started that this week to get my head around exactly what the project consisted of. I went out and measured everything today, and got everything turned into Zach. Marty printed him off, kind of all the background and everything from the past on it. So we can fix it. I'm just kind of waiting on go as far as a legal standpoint, and if I'm good to go with it and everything like that. And like I said, we got that turned into Zach, so hopefully I'll get some answers, when he gets time on that. But
So are we talking about paving, are we talking about chip sealing, are we talking about?
well, it wouldn't be a chip. It wouldn't be a normal chip, I guess I should say, just because the road's just so bad. So you'd have to go in and repair the road first. I guess the first thing we'd have to do is just go out there and dig and see really what's there. I mean, what base was that ever put in? Figure that out
I'm gonna tell you,
first.
it's probably nothing.
And it probably is, the way it
I'm
looks.
guessing we'd have to take it into the county first thing, wouldn't we, before we did anything?
Well,
Hey, what?
that's where Zach's involved.
Yeah, I don't think we could do any work until we had that part done, could we?
And he just got this today, so.
Okay, all right, yeah.
That's what I.
Well, we'll give you all.
Okay.
What options the county would have to take it over, either by, there'd be a couple mechanisms, but off the top of my head, it'd be, something like eminent domain is potentially an option. There's also, prescriptive easements by adverse possession, so depending on, that's why I was asking kind of how was the road used, if it was just one exit and one entrance, is it just used by members of that subdivision, or is it could it be considered like an arterial roadway of the county, in which case it might fall under a definition for state highway, but managed locally, but I don't know the answers to those questions, so I'm working on it.
You might touch base with Mark Gardner too, our surveyor, because he's been telling us that depending on how it was deeded, or when they went and got the permits, if it was permitted as a subdivision, then when that was written,
There's a reference to the approved planning
it's,
commission.
it says that it's for public use, and at that point, it gives us the right to do it if we want or not to do it, so that's where, and I'm not an attorney by any means, Marty is, but I'm not.
So, yeah, I would say the basic, first thing on that just is go out there and see what's there. And then, I mean, you know, a grader, and it's gonna take you a long way on that. And then,
Yep.
you know, I'll get to figuring on some material, on the reality of it. I mean, if it's something we wanna pave, then yeah, I think it's a candidate for it. We need to fix the base first, but
Right.
it's nothing.
Had no base.
Yeah, that's nothing that's out of the way. I mean, it's something that's easily enough done, so.
Get it. Appreciate it. Is that it?
I think that was it. Yeah, I was quick.
Okay. Well, again, I wanna appreciate you jumping in. I know, it's a big undertaking, and I know that, from the people I've talked to down there, they appreciate you jumping in both feet and, you know, working with them, and I think you got a good crew down there, and I think they'll do anything you ask them to do. So.
Yeah, I believe so. I believe it's a real good crew as far as that goes. But see, now I've thought of things. So here is a couple of things.
Actually, there was one thing that you had on here that you didn't bring up. But
All right. You know, I know we're looking for asphalt preservation.
Mhm.
So, you know, we had an old, like, oil distributor out back.
The one that's clogged up?
Yeah, so, I talked to Jefferson County superintendent, and he gave me a guy's number, supposed to be really good over in Carrollton on asphalt equipment. So I'm gonna touch base with him. I looked the truck over, I think it's probably feasible to fix this truck. You know, I think so.
South.
Yeah, I mean, with some plumbing and figure out how to get it emptied, and I think it could be worth fixing, so I'll be looking into that.
Okay.
As far as next year's budget goes on that, I mean, is this something we're wanting to look at and say, hey, let's, you know, the hardest part's getting started, so are we gonna say, let's do 10 miles next year? And try to budget that in along with equipment and just see what the reality of it is. I assume that's what we're looking for.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
So I'll be working with Teresa at the end of the week, so I'm gonna get that done tomorrow. I've been working on it, but the equipment's like everything else. You can buy a $20,000 chipper, or you can buy a $300,000 chipper. I think ideally what we would get is just like the paver. You could do it all in one pass.
Yeah.
Something you could extend out. I was talking to Bobby Phillips, he said, yeah, they have one, you got a double pass, one you got a triple pass.
So you don't want to.
You know, the one I'm familiar with, you know, they extend out and hit over 24 feet, I think, or something, real wide. Anyway, we'll work on that. The next thing is, there's a couple pieces of equipment the guys are missing really to still yet. One is their milling head. They got it on military one. And
One that fit on the front of
and
it.
it's not much at all. I'd like to look in trying to get them one to go in front of that new 279D cat. If they're gonna be paving and they're gonna be doing that kind of work, then that's what we need to give them so they can, you know,
Do it right.
do it right. And then a road saw for that cat, so they can cut their culverts out and try to prevent so much breakage. They can only control so much. But anyway, it's asphalt tools. It's tools that we're asking to do the work, and it's just tools that need to do it right. So those are a couple things.
Just get some prices on them.
Yeah, I'll get some prices together on it and get some ideas on, you know, where we're going with that. And I don't know if I told you, but I did meet with the railroad on the Pigeon Forge thing down there. Yeah, I keep saying Pigeon Forge.
Down Tennessee.
Yeah, Pigeon Rouge. So, we're responsible to put those crossings back up for the railroad and everything.
Yeah.
So I gotta work on getting some paint for that.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be working on that too, so.
One thing I had for you is, the roller.
Yes. The little roller?
Where we at with that?
It's in your packet.
Yes.
Well, I know it went to the, I know there was, cause I even told you, reach out to 2 or 3 people that, I was given names for. I'm gonna tell you, I'm not much on renting unless it's, we're renting a piece of equipment that we're gonna use one time and never use again. If we're gonna use it, we're gonna pave and we're in the paving business, we need to buy what we're doing, I mean, so.
Yeah.
I heard that you brought a price of a new mini roller.
Yeah.
I guess I'm saying a mini 36-inch.
Yeah, might as well call it a mini. Yeah.
So is that what, you're wanting?
That's what we went with, his purchase. It should be
Okay.
delivered any day.
Okay,
Yeah.
alright, that's good.
Council and worked with him, and he had an initial
Probably gonna
initiation
come here
with
first.
council, I guess he
Yeah.
did say yes, so
Probably
he came
come here
here.
first.
Well, actually, it did kinda, I would say it wouldn't.
But it's okay.
But it was a situation where,
We went to rent, and then it was the option, at the time, I didn't know the option would even be there to buy. Once we got it, figured that out, we got it done, so.
but like I said, I think I didn't wanna get into a $3,000 a month rental bill when we can buy something and help.
You have to weigh it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But Liberty Knowledge, we ain't closer on that one. You and I have talked a little bit about it.
I actually rode out there with Chad, just, and looked at it.
is this the one I told you
Well,
about?
there's 2 spots. There's there where they built that area up, which is pretty bad. I think you mentioned that to me earlier this year.
Yeah.
And it's all paid for, I understand. Then they gotta go out and repave all the other end all the way up the county line.
Yeah, I'll call Ken on that tomorrow. I rode up over to Chad just so I could lay eyes on it.
Yeah.
And know what I'm calling him about.
Yeah.
And, I'm gonna call him tomorrow.
It's pretty deeper up right there where they,
Yeah, it
Yeah.
needs repaired.
yeah.
So I'll see where he thinks when he's gonna be able to do it.
Well, 'cause
The roller you're looking at, does that have vibration on it?
Yes. Okay. It's a bow mag is what it is, so it's a good little roller, probably around 3,000 pounds, center pivot, so it'll be, and they got a jumping jack with it, so.
What that is.
Well, those 2 tools, they ought to be able to go out. I know Denver's got several spots like out on New Frankfurt, but we're just gonna peel the whole road up. And then take the paver out there and put binder in before we do the community crossing.
Well,
There's just
yeah.
nothing there.
And one of them spots on New Frankfurt's got, a spring under it.
That's what he was telling me, yeah,
Yeah.
so, we might be able to put a tile in there and divert some of that before we go paving too.
Yeah.
So, we'll go so long till it's crunch time and then we'll just have to pay.
Alright,
And go from there.
appreciate you.
Alright, thanks
Well,
guys.
if you guys don't mind to finish this transaction for his purchase of the roller,
Yes.
with the compactor on it, you have
We just need to make a motion.
to approve him purchasing that and let me go ahead and pay that Friday.
I'll make a motion.
Randy makes a motion to purchase the roller for the highway department.
and I'll second that.
John's gonna second that, and I'll make that unanimous.
My curiosity is what's that being paid out of?
Actually, your own funds that were
Yeah,
rearranged.
asphalt,
Yes.
Yeah, it's not an additional or anything like
No.
that.
yeah.
And just for clarification for the owl there,
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
basically what we're doing is the roller, a new roller is what, 16 for a roller?
Yeah, that one, the new roller there was around 19.
About 19,000. And we had a roller that caught on fire, which we received a check for 7,400 and
Something like that, yeah.
change. And the rent, roller and trailer was gonna be $3,000 a month. So we're already at $10,000 and it's just a,
Yeah,
That was just a good move.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the council, having a special meeting actually for you and,
Yeah.
getting that approved, so.
yeah, that's a good deal.
But, all right, thanks,
All right,
sir.
thank you, Kevin.
Appreciate it. All right, Jeffrey, 911 EMA department.
Don't get in no hurry, Jeff.
I'm not, cause I got some good news and bad news.
Let's just.
Well, we don't wanna hear any bad news.
Oh, it took me a week to get over it, but,
The bad news?
yeah. First, before I forget again, These are your county emergency management plan. That's been updated. I've been meaning, I've had it in my pocket, I've had it in this, last 3 or 4 meetings, I just keep forgetting to give it to you.
So this is
That's
from
the-
EMA.
That's the whole county emergency management plan.
Okay. And that's for any kind of, you know, tornado,
Natural
flood,
disasters, everything.
help,
For,
plane crash or anything else, so.
But I mean, the book is that thick, so it's all in there.
Okay, sounds good.
The last meeting, we talked about the ABCO EMD and, how the state 911 board said, send us the invoice. So I went back over.
This is the bad news, isn't it?
Yeah. Get that out of the way, cause it still makes me mad, but, after the meeting here, I went back, called them. The lady who said, send us the invoice, we'll pay for it.
She doesn't work there anymore, does she?
No, she still works there. She still works there, but because it was over 10,000, she said, well, the board will have to approve it. Okay. She said, shouldn't be a problem, we got plenty of money. All right. So, the following Monday, I get an email, and basically they will pay for, 4,000 something dollars of it, which leaves 18,419 that they won't pay for, that they said I could take out of the 1222 account where they send the 30,000 whatever a month. The problem with that money's already spoken for in the budget. So.
So this is for what system? This is
It's,
for,
well, and I forgot to tell you guys this the last time, it's for emergency medical dispatch, which the state says you have to have a program for that. The program that we currently have, they keep changing it up. Now they want us to rent tablets for our people to go through the training. Now they want us to send them through a 40-hour course that we already send them to. It's just a different course. So it's just continuously, they're wanting to add money and charge more. The other difference is with APCO is I get access to not only the EMD, but I get access to the police and fire dispatch protocols. And that's no extra charge for those other 2 protocols. With the current system, we'd have to pay another $5,000 a year per discipline. The reason I like this so much is the recertification's cheaper. We'll have our own instructor in-house. We won't have to send them any place for training, for hotel, mileage and meals and all that stuff. Plus, I met with the ISO guy down at Vienna when he was there doing their ISO inspection. Part of the fire department's ISO inspection, 10 points of that comes from dispatch.
yeah.
And we've satisfied 9 out of those 10 points. That extra point comes from the fire protocol that we don't have. So if we went with this, we would be a perfect 10 for 10 on the ISO, which would help fire departments and the taxpayers.
So you're saying, what was the total bill?
The total was 32,820.37.
And the
And what-
state said they'll pay 4,000 of that.
Yeah, what's not covered after what they will pay is 18,419. And I
So the
could,
state will pay,
the state will pay,
where was the $4,000 you said earlier?
it's right here, everything with the asterisks is what they will cover under the training fund.
Okay.
This is what they say I can take out of the 30,000 a month they send me, but that money's already,
You've already budgeted.
yeah, it's already budgeted for the year.
Are you wanting this for 1/1 and 22? 22, or you wanting it now, or you wanting it?
I mean, we can wait. I just have to get another,
Because we're looking at budget time and
September.
throwing that into the 22 budget.
we
with
can
the
wait,
lift
but,
Or something like that, because this isn't huge.
Yeah, so,
So I'm thinking, but it's huge maybe now because we don't have it appropriate, or don't have any place to pull it from. But in
Here's-
22's
here's the-
budget, it might be,
here's the other thing, I've got roughly 18,000 in equipment that I could possibly use to get this, because I owe, Priority Dispatch coming up July 1st, 5,000 for another year of service. So if I could possibly use that budget, I mean, I won't have anything in the equipment budget for the rest of the year.
do they bill this in any kind of increments? I mean, do they bill you half up front and then 6 months later the other half? I mean, sometimes that works, you know, because
I
we.
mean, I can reach out to them and see, but
Because like, sometimes they split my software package bill because of tax, you know, and stuff, but they'll split it into two payments.
I can reach out and see. I just wanted to see how,
so technically, this is, training, software that we can do in-house training.
no, it's the actual, like now, when somebody calls 911 and you call and
It's the
say,
thing that tells the dispatcher, hey, if
It
you're
gives
having a
them-
heart attack, here's the protocol that you.
here's the protocol, here's the set of questions you have to
Yeah,
ask
okay, I get it.
to figure out if you send ambulance, no
Well, I'm
license
gonna-
iron or whatever.
I went to a meeting last week in Indianapolis for this ARP money that is coming, or actually, we probably already have some of it, but, there are a list of items that you can use, and that list is changing, but, and there, I'm supposed to, I guess all of us are supposed to receive an email, from the Indiana Association of Commissioners to tell you, here's the items you can spend it on. There were attorneys there were accountants there, and they were all telling you, you better make sure, cause this is federal money, that your line of what you want to do this, or to spend your money on, better meet one of those criterias, and it better not be a dotted line to what you're trying to do, because they're going to come back and tell you owe them the money back. I'm hoping, and some of those people in that room were hoping, that the feds are gonna loosen up like they did the last time and say, you know, the criteria is too in-depth, to how, you know, the requirements of what you can spend it on. And it was almost ridiculous. I mean, some of the stuff that they were saying, here's what you spend it on. Well, if you're in a major metropolitan city or a county, you know, like Marion or some of the bigger counties, you could probably find a lot of avenues to spend that money. But you're in Scott County, Indiana, where we don't have the infrastructure that some of these other people have that we could spend that money on. It's gonna be hard pressed for us to find areas that we can use that money in without having some sort of a dotted solid line to get to that criteria. But my whole goal with you was, with EMS, is to make sure that, or EMS, with 911 and EMA, is to make sure that we could utilize a lot of that money for communication. And there is one of those criteria that is communication, but getting, you know, our line to that communication, policy, we just need to make sure we can cross it and do it. But this may fall in with those guidelines, but those guidelines are coming out, and, they were gonna clarify a lot of those with some.
Yeah, and this can be held off. Like I said, I just have to pay $5,000 July 1st for another year with the other service. But, I mean, this price could go down, because I've got 5 people currently that's not certified, but I'm gonna have to send at least 1 or 2 of them to get certified. So, you know, this price will go down the longer we wait.
Well, right now, you have something in place.
Yeah, we
You're just
have
wanting to
something.
upgrade to a different system.
I'm wanting to change to a different system that will save us money in the long run.
Yeah,
And, you know, we get 3 disciplines instead of the 1,
yeah, I agree.
you know, but it didn't have to be right now, I just wanted to,
But what you're telling us is that where the state originally told you that they would pay it all, now they're telling us they're gonna pay 18,000 of it, or they're
Yeah.
paying everything but 18,000 of it, so.
yeah. Because they said, well, you have to take that out of the money that we send you monthly, which would be great if it wasn't already
You didn't
budgeted.
you didn't already
You know.
allow it somewhere else, so.
But yeah, I mean, that's that, we can wait off on that, I have no problem
Let's
with
see
that.
where, when those guidelines come down, or get clarified a little bit better, maybe we can do something.
Next is the multi-hazard mitigation plan, and I gave you that paperwork.
Yep.
In that paperwork, it showed it was 25 or 26,000 altogether, you remember? And we'll get 19,000 of it back, I think, on reimbursement.
Are you talking about
Yeah.
the pre-disaster mitigation program?
Yes.
Grant, yeah, so it's,
Yeah. It says,
total approved for the project is 25,000, local cost is $25,943, local cost is $6,486, and the subrecipient award is $19,457.
so we'll have to pay 6,486. And then the state is paying the 19,000 directly to this group that does that plan for us. And they come in and sit down with me and other stakeholders to go over it, come up with a plan, and then we'll be good for another, however many, I think it's 5 years in it, something like that. Yeah. I don't
So
know.
this is something that's required,
Mhm.
and this is something we've done in the past?
Yep, something we done that's currently,
I think the grant agreement has been in effect for a couple of years now, this is
Yeah.
just renewing terms.
but currently our plan is good till December 31st. But they're wanting to get busy on working on it, setting up these meetings, because there have to be 2 meetings, I think, open to the public, and all kinds of stuff, so. I just need your permission to say, yeah, we'll do this and get working on it.
So what's is there a cost related?
Yeah, the county will have to pay the 6,486.
Have you been to council with this too? This
No,
is your
not
first stop?
yet.
Okay.
So this is something in the past we've done
Mhm.
and had to spend money for. And I'm gonna say, because you're saying something about the council, there's no way you budgeted for any of this, did you? Cause it's
No.
probably something that happens every 5 or 10 years. And,
Yeah, I mean, I'll have to get,
but if it's mandatory, then we don't have a choice here, but.
I think it is. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe it is mandatory, because this group works with most of the counties in Indiana on doing it.
Randy makes a motion to, and I'm gonna say this, cause it's, we're gonna have sent it to the council
Right.
for approval, so, motions to approve it, to send it to the council, okay, all right.
Second.
Randy makes a motion to, approve this through the commissioners and send it to the council for them to see if they can find the money. John seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous.
The other thing is,
Is this good news or bad news?
well, it's,
You're just a good news bearer today, aren't you?
when I took this place, you got, or this position you wanted to change. And John has showed up to one of the CAD demos. And I've got 2 quotes here for you to look at, not asking to approve either one, I just want you to look at them. The plan is, After talking to, his name left my, he's on the council, Donnie Ritchie. Yeah. He sat through demos, and his suggestion was, and I've talked to the police chiefs, and they're in agreement that these are split down per agency, like with the sheriff's department, because he handles all the warrants and the jail software. My portion, EMS, and both Austin and Scottsburg City. The ideal is, yeah. And then there's one for all the fire departments. But the ideal is, once we look at these and decide where we're gonna go, I'm gonna go to Austin Council and Scottsburg Council and ask for them to cost share on this. And Scott and Sean both said shouldn't be a problem, but I'll leave
So they're
these.
gonna all benefit from it, so they,
Yeah,
know,
everybody's gonna use it, so I feel everybody should help pay for it. It shouldn't just be the county's burden. So I'll leave these with you guys. Probably
So that's two different companies that
Yeah.
came in and
two different
gave
companies.
you,
This one, kinda upset with, it took them about a month to get me a quote after coming in. These guys had the quote to me the next week, so, you can go through there. This one is more broke down as far as cost sharing than this one is. So I'll just let you guys look at those. And
so
then-
for people that don't know what you're talking about, a CAD system is a 911 system that,
It's how we log all of our calls, for dispatch, and then it's also includes all the mobile terminals for the officers.
so what happens is, and again, for people that are laymen, is that the call comes in, you start a CAD right off the bat of where the call's at, what is it, a police, fire, EMS run. And then what happens is, if, for instance, if it's a police, dispatch, then the officer, he can add to that CAD his investigative information.
It's how everybody in the county now does their reports. All the police agencies,
I'm
anyway.
just trying to get people to understand
And as
what,
far as the jail program, that's how they keep track of all their inmates, doing their bookend process.
So it's a record of everything you do from start to finish?
Yeah. What it
Yes.
is, and you was a reserve for a while, and John knows. Used to be, you had a paper that sat in front of the dispatcher, and they would handwrite the time that they dispatched and what officer and a little brief description. It's basically the same thing, only it's computer form. And it has your complaint, address, telephone number, caller information, a brief narrative area, and when you assign somebody, you can mark them on scene, whatever, and it keeps track of their times. Each agency, once the call's created, if I create a call for Scottsburg City and the sheriff's department goes to assist, I drag that officer to that call, and it automatically creates a CAD number, a record number for each agency that's separate.
To what degree? Like would the coroner's report be on that?
It could be,
Could, but it doesn't have to be.
yeah, it doesn't have to be. Like, all if they are on traffic stop, we attach all the vehicle information and driver's information to it. But if that goes, like to EMS, if they request a copy of the city's report, we can leave that out because the IDEX information is confidential, so not everybody can see that.
Okay.
But, I mean,
it's a recording tool.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, I mean, like, it's an investigative tool too for the police officers, for the fact that they're entering information, and that information is
More-
gonna come in a report to them at the end of it.
More so these two than the current system that we have, because the cool thing about both of these is that, every time if I put Randy Julian in the system, every time I can go back and look and be like, okay, Randy's been involved in this theft case or this harassment case, and then it will break it down to even vehicles you've been associated to. Even if you and Mike were together on one of those calls, now I know that you're associated with Mike Jones. So it's almost like a little mini crime computer, these two.
Will this, is this gonna speed up the process of what the police officers and, all the reports they have to do?
It
Or will
can.
this just add to their daily thing?
This one is really different because the system that we have now, we create the call, they go on it, and then we have to, what's called RMS, which is, remote something or another, but we have to do something special so they can see the call and do the report. With this company, the call, like this morning, that fire out there, they was waiting on the fire marshal to come in. Well, the reserve that was sitting out there waiting requested to call the RMS so he could work on a report. Reference that, I guess he wanted to add some information. Well, we had to close it, and then he wasn't gone yet. See what I'm saying? With this, they can, it doesn't matter if it's sent to RMS. You can start your report while you're on the scene in your car. And if Mike Jones wants to do a supplement to this officer's report, he can be working on it at the same time,
Whether it's open or closed.
whether it's open or closed. You could have 3 different agencies working on the same report.
Well, just like that deal yesterday, there was a fire CAD, a police, or a sheriff's CAD, and
It
probably.
would still be that way, but if you needed to add a supplement,
Yeah.
you could.
Could this take the place of the report that the police officer is already doing?
Both of these have the ability. Now, if the officer pulls you over, he's gonna write you a ticket. Everything's done by e-tickets, which is a different software. Both of these interface with e-tickets. So they could issue the ticket straight from their mobile CAD instead of having to go to a different program to write you a ticket.
Right.
I think what you're asking is,
Yeah.
once the police officer finishes the CAD, is there another paperwork that he has to do his report? I think
That
what
would
you're
be
saying
it.
is it's
You would
all
have to
here.
That would be it. I mean, they can even go in, and we've talked to Chris Owens about it. Both of these have the ability that you can create your own forms. Like a
Okay.
DUI form, search warrants, they could do it all from this one system. All their affidavits, everything.
My only concern, I guess, with this was I wanted to make sure that they would only have to do one report, because you don't want a police officer sitting there writing several reports and doing all this paperwork. 'Cause
See,
that
now-
takes away from his job out in the field.
Well, now, if he arrests somebody, he's gotta do the report, then he's gotta go back and do a separate affidavit and all that. With this, it's
You
all
just
in
go on
one,
that.
it's all in one system.
All right.
So it would be a lot, I mean, all the police agencies loved it. You know, the problem is you're looking,
Is this one different than this one? Cause you
Yeah.
keep pointing at that one.
yeah, they're
So
different.
this is the grandfather, and this is the,
So far, all the feedback I've got, everybody likes this one the best.
would you? You were there.
Well, I just saw the one, is that the one I saw?
Yeah. You,
Yeah.
you came to this one because they brought
How much is
Mission
that?
Barbecue.
They fed good. They did.
They fed us good. That's why John showed up.
I did not, that's for that reason, but I didn't.
This one,
go away
after I had
hungry,
them
though.
tweak it a little bit, because they both came with a mapping system. And I'm happy with WTH. Got a good working relationship with them. So I had both of them take the mapping out. This one is coming in at about 668,000. Yeah. And this one is 800 and something thousand.
So we're hoping the ARP money comes through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's get that line up there.
Yeah, tell your congressman.
But that's, I mean, you gotta take 30, I think Austin's portion for this one was like 34,000. So if they pick up that, and then Scottsburg.
But you're also saying that, when's the last time we've upgraded this system?
Our CAD,
Yeah, well,
probably 10, 13 years.
Electronic technology has.
And the system that we have now has nothing compared to these.
we're, what, 5 to 8 years behind right now, probably.
I mean, you're talking about the company that we currently have. If you go to the website, they have 3 employees compared to these people who
Yeah.
brought 6 people
Well, it's
in.
state of the art, so.
I mean, they brought more than half of the people that our current company has just for the demo.
You're gonna love what I get ready to say next.
Hmm?
I'd like to see a model of what it takes our police officers now to do everything compared to what it would do there, along with the amount of police officers that we have. So I could see in the long run, you know, like, let's say, you know, $600,000 is a lot of money, but if you're saving the police officer's time and that puts him on the road more to get more done and keeps us from having to hire more police officers later, you know where I'm going?
This would make their job a whole lot quicker and a whole lot better.
So I'd kind of like to see if you can try to throw a number at that.
Come over one day and I'll show you what we currently have. And I've got a video of this one I can show you.
And quicker depends on how quick they can get back to get the information. They may be,
Yeah.
I mean, just because you got it ready immediately, don't mean they don't get to it for 4 or 5 hours, depending on what's going on.
Right,
Yeah,
but if it keeps him from having to fill out several reports,
it would probably save some overtime, things of that nature, because
Yeah.
so much time gets spent writing reports. I mean, I bet an officer spends at least a third of his time writing reports and not on the street. Where you're
Some of them,
Right.
and I know some that don't even get their reports done,
Yeah.
and they go home and do it,
Yeah,
and they're not even on the clock.
yeah, which they should be.
well, I guess it's a matter of everybody looking everything up too to get the information. Instead of having to pull from several different places.
Yeah, and they can, like you said, you could probably send a lot of that stuff straight to their house for them if they need it, can't you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
so even though they go
everything
home-
that we can do in dispatch as far as like running license plates and driver's licenses gets automatically attached to their CAD.
Yeah.
So they have all the information they need right there to do their report. And I mean, it's impressive to see,
I see where
the
you're going,
difference.
and I would just like to see some type of numbers put, something. Cause I like it, I think that it's a great idea, but I guess I've got sticker shock.
Yeah. Well, I
Right
mean,
now.
the system that Clark County has, just for us to piggyback on, was gonna be over $1 million.
If we're ever gonna have the money, it's this year probably,
Yeah.
just for some of
And-
the federal money.
And Toby was telling me earlier that Floyd County uses this system, and that we may be able to piggyback on them and knock this price down. I'll have to check on that. The other, I mean, this system, the one good thing about it is they have 229 agencies in the state of Indiana using it. If we went this route, we could tap into 229 other agencies' data. So if we ran into somebody from Missawaka that was down here and they dealt with him, we could see that information
Without having to ask for it.
without having to ask for it. So that's one good thing. I mean, they both have good points and bad points, but
Oh, yeah.
So
It's just-
what's, I guess the
I see the
question,
benefit.
the question I would have is, what's the lifespan of that program? I know you said that we probably haven't changed it in 10, 13 years, but
I don't know what they consider the lifespan on these CADs are. I mean, because next year they'll add more
so
bells
you
and
buy
whistles.
something else is out. But
Yeah.
Right.
But as far as what we've got to these two, we might as well be doing pen and paper.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a big ticket item, but, you know, what's the benefit? So,
And like I said, I just wanted to present
Well,
it to
yeah.
you, to show you what
I
I've
could-
been
I know where
working
you're
on.
going, I agree. Are we gonna have to spend another 100,000 on it next year to update it? Is there constant updates?
Well,
actually, there is an update.
There is a yearly maintenance,
It's
and it includes any updates.
a first year maintenance total and a first year subscription total. The maintenance is $75,128 and the subscription is $11,000. So
So we
there's,
gotta spend
you gotta spend about $90,000.
$86,000 every year.
Yeah. So there's a cost to it.
There's a
But
cost.
there's also, you know, if we can get buy-in from 2 other agencies or municipalities, I mean, we can,
And I'm gonna check on this tomorrow to see about piggybacking off of Floyd County. Cause I know Clark County said we could piggyback on their New World, but still sharing their servers, it was still gonna be $1 million.
so New World is totally different from either one of these.
Yeah, there's 20 different CAD companies out there.
Okay.
And,
Alright, sounds good.
Yeah, so,
You want us,
I just want you guys to look over that.
You can get the copies, can't you? I mean, if I wanna come by.
Yeah, I can email it to you.
That's okay.
yeah.
I've got most
Just
of the
email,
email.
just email it to me, I like to,
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of information there.
yeah.
I'll email that to you and you guys can look at them. Last thing,
Is there any good news? I haven't heard it yet.
I'll get to that. The last thing I got is.
When, no.
Last thing I got is, FirstNet, AT&T. Rep came in and talked to me. I currently do not have, Wi-Fi on my phone or anything. So if I'm out, like on that fire, and I need to get onto the web EOC, Emergency Operations Center, I can't unless I'm parked outside my building or somewhere with free access. I currently get a cell phone stipend, and what I'd like to do is take that, and he gave me a quote for a MiFi device and a Cradle Point device. And the Cradle Point is basically a modem like you got in your house for the emergency command center or trailer. That way we can have connectivity wherever we go. And the MiFi would be for my response car. Be $59.98 a month. There's no contract with FirstNet, so no contract to sign, nothing else. That's the state rate, the state.
So this is added to your
I would
phone
use,
bill, or is this something
that's
is-
just for the two.
so a MiFi is a standalone
Yeah,
object and the Cradle Point is,
the Cradle Point would go in the command trailer.
Your stipend stays the same, this would be something.
I would use my cell phone stipend to make up some of that. I might have to go ask council for a little more.
I wouldn't want you to use your stipend for that.
No, you can't do that.
No, that part.
Quite honestly, I think needs to be something that the EMA budget, pays for, and whether we have to budget for it in the future or whatever, but it looks like is this cost for the Cradle Point is $303, is that a one-time? And then of course, the other part is a monthly fee for the,
$29.99 a month for
Do you have
both
money to
devices.
move around to do this if we could?
Yeah, I think so.
Without having to go to council, you already got it, maybe.
I think so.
well, I can't believe that unless
At one point,
the other people that were in your position prior to that had a different cell system or a different,
at one point, I think Greg did have FirstNet, but it was canceled for some reason.
so what you're saying is that if EMA pulls the trailer out someplace like they did, for the tornado that came through here a few years back, you wouldn't have any kind of internet service out there whatsoever.
Don't have it
You
in
might
my
as well let the
car.
trailer
It
do it.
looked to me like we could prove this tonight.
I don't have a problem with that.
I'll make a motion on that.
I'll second.
I'll make that unanimous, but I think you should have already had that.
Yeah.
I mean, I do too, but, I think I got money to move around that I can cover it for this year and then try to get it in the budget next year.
Yeah, you need to budget that because that should be something that you already have. And you should have already had.
You're creating a hotspot for your cell phone and a hotspot for your command trailer. Basically, it's kind of what you're doing,
Yeah.
right, so you can connect,
Yeah, it's a,
connectivity.
like the officers use for their laptop in their cars, getting one of those and then the Cradle Point that will go in the trailer.
I get that.
Yeah.
So,
That way we can have connectivity wherever.
sounds good. Was that the good news?
Yeah. No. Well, the good news is, just
We're
a,
still waiting,
just a
Well, you said the
little,
last thing.
Yeah.
well, that was the last thing.
Oh, so now you're gonna tell us the good
sure.
news.
Just information,
It's sun shining outside.
yeah. Well, last week, I think me and Will took the swearing in ceremony for Indiana chapter of NENA, the National Emergency.
Saw that.
Will, starting July 1st, will be serving in my current spot as Vice President of the South Region, which is 20-something counties. I was elected for the second Vice President. Monday, I got an email from the incoming president and asked me to step up to the first Vice President. First time anybody from Scott County has done that. So I'll serve a year as first Vice President. July 1st of next year, I will step into the President.
I think it's quite an honor, Jeff.
So,
Congratulations.
that's the good news on that. And we are gonna be sponsoring a NENA class, July 27th here in Scott County.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
July 27th, we're sponsoring a class for NENA.
Oh.
Some type of management course, but Shannon has allowed us to use the Training Institute. Gonna bring in somewhere between 30 and 50 people, maybe some overnight stays, bringing a little money into the economy for hotels and restaurants and stuff, so.
Deal.
First time we've done that too, so. And I think that's all I got unless you have questions for me.
No, I wanna thank you.
No, I appreciate it.
Get on top of it.
Some lady wants to talk to me or you, she's got a complaint, so.
She needs to talk to you then.
Well, she may have to talk to you what she's wanting, but,
Okay.
there was an issue. Her vehicle was towed and it was reported stolen. Didn't get removed from the system. She was stopped up north somewhere. It was still reported stolen. We still had the paperwork showing it was stolen. So they impounded it. Now she's wanting me to pay for the impound fee.
What you ought to do?
I think that's an attorney thought.
Well, I don't have that, I don't have a budget line for
How much
that.
money you talking about?
I can't remember.
So where did it fall through the crack at?
Honestly, it fell through the crack on the sheriff's department.
They didn't clear
The officer did not
Updated.
tell my people to remove that from the system. the best I can find. I went back and listened to tapes. Never once on a phone call or radio was they told you to remove it, so.
I think you're right, we need to let attorney look at it, and honestly, it sounds like we may hold a record bill. But we'll see what the
Yeah.
So
evidence
she
is.
got her car impounded.
Because it was reported stolen. At some point, she recovered it.
So what is
Didn't
she,
get taken out.
But-
I mean, is there a money thing out here she's got? She got a price?
She does, but I don't know.
Why was
what
the
it
car
was.
totaled?
Hmm?
How was the car totaled?
It was towed,
Towed?
T.O.
Yeah.
had,
I'm like,
yeah.
thinking it's
She
totaled.
I can see
reported
where-
it stolen, got it back at some point. The sheriff's department officer did not tell my people to remove it from the state system.
Okay.
She was stopped a month or two later up north. Got a hit on it. And it still showed stolen. We still had a copy of the report. So they impounded it.
I'm gonna ask you a question. Did she get arrested?
I don't think so.
Okay, so they just took her out of the car.
Yeah. They just took her out of the car.
took her out of her own car.
Took her out of the car and impounded it. And
We're
I
gonna arrest you for
I
stealing
don't
your own
think it's
car.
much. I wanna say it was like $150.
That sounds to me like an oops moment, oops.
Well,
But I have went back and listened to phone and radio traffic and never
I
once.
guess my question, I don't know how you would ever, what fund would you take that out of? I mean,
But I think you're exactly right, probably the
I
less,
think
probably the more he talks about it, the
you
less we
need
do,
to
the
talk with
better.
him. And
I
then-
will get with Tammy tomorrow and get your number
Okay.
and forward her to you.
Well, I don't know how, I understand it.
'Cause I don't have a
It was a
phone.
paperwork issue.
I might be upset about it.
But I think if I was
Yeah, I don't blame you.
if I was
Yeah.
the, wherever the law enforcement, that stopped her up north, I think I'd have made a phone call and said, hey, is this still an active,
Well, they had to,
stolen vehicle?
they had to
Especially when
contact.
her name is on the registration,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she may have made the phone call.
well, there's a
Yeah, it's
process,
hot.
cause once they get a hit, what we call a hit, that
Yeah.
this person's wanted or this vehicle stolen, they have to contact us. And of course, my people look, it was still had a copy of the
still active.
paperwork. And nobody told us to clear it, so.
How much did the sheriff get off his auction?
57,000, yeah. I think you're talking,
I mean, just to bring that to your attention, a
So,
while ago Brittany was
write her
texting me.
name down someplace so I know when I get a phone call, what
I
are,
don't know her name,
Okay.
Brittany was just texting me when I
Okay.
was sitting back there, hey,
Alright.
this lady wants to talk to you or Mike.
okay, well, I just wanna know who's calling me, so.
I won't give her your number.
I always wanted to, yeah, go ahead. I never know whether to give your guys' numbers out or not when people ask for them.
I recognize them or not.
I do not do that.
With all the scamming stuff going on,
Yeah, I
all
like to
these,
answer those.
all these robocalls they get,
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
she may be trying, I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
okay.
I'm not gonna say she's doing that,
What
but,
police department was it? Up north?
well, funny, I wanna say it might have been up near Mishawaka.
Really?
Well, the difference is that it sounds like they did their due diligence. They called his department and they said, but it's still up. You
And I
know,
mean, I'm not saying it hasn't happened because we've run across warrants that
Well, you know
Yeah.
that.
didn't get sent over to get removed, and,
Yeah.
Yeah,
but luckily we catch them, and, I mean, it
Wow.
happens. It
shouldn't have
happens
been
when
in
you're,
trouble in the first place, so.
when you're entering stolen vehicles for the sheriff and Scottsburg and Austin, and, stuff like that does happen occasionally, but
Okay. All right,
that's all I got for you.
thanks for the good
Best
news.
computers in the world don't make up for human error.
Thanks for the good news. So I need to call you first vice president now?
Yeah.
All right.
No. You can call me anything you want to, as long as you call me for dinner.
I hear you. County attorney comments, this might be interesting.
So I just wanted to let everybody know that, Mike, you had asked about the electronic, members participating via electronic means in a public meeting.
Yep.
So there is a copy of a resolution, thanks to Tammy, from the city of Scottsburg that has, you know, a breakdown of what the rules would look like. For the commissioners itself, you'd have to have 2 members physically here at every meeting. So one person could participate, like via Zoom or something. There are rules in the statute that require specific notification by that person before they're gonna do the meeting so that we have time to set it up. Limitations on the amount of times you can do that per year. You obviously have to be at least 1 meeting physically per year. But you have to adopt specific rules about all those things before you can do those. And the governor's order expires, I think, July 1st. So if the commissioners wanted to consider doing something like that, I would just need to know and we.
You know what he's talking about,
For you guys to look at.
You know what he's talking about, don't you? Okay.
Yeah, I think we need to do something with it, cause there's.
Well, I think there's times when.
Yeah, it just can't, sometimes just whatever reason you can't be there, but, I understand 2 of us have to be present,
Yes.
so, whatever.
Well, I think it's kinda ironic that COVID caused that to happen a few times. I mean, I know one time I was in New Orleans and called into a meeting, last year. And I know, you've called in during the COVID stuff. And I don't want it to be abused, but I think it's.
Better not showing,
It's a
better,
good tool.
yeah,
But I think, like you said, there's limitations of how many times you can do it. I mean, you don't wanna say, well, I'm gonna move to Hawaii and I'll just call into the meetings. I mean,
You just have to, you just have to adopt specific rules related to, you get to choose the limitations actually based on what the statute looks like, but there are some specific requirements like participation of at least 1 meeting a year. For some governing bodies, it would be 1/3 of the members must be physically present, but because we only have 3, it must be 2 present.
if we adopt this, would it just be good for our meetings, or do we need to adopt it for council, other boards?
I believe that you could adopt it the same way that the city of Scottsburg has adopted theirs. It would be any governing bodies for the county could
Yeah,
participate.
yeah.
So that
I didn't know if they had to adopt their own.
Or any other commissions,
Yeah.
correct?
There are
Fine.
Yeah.
there are certain governing bodies that are specifically not allowed to do it, but I'd have to look at those.
Okay.
well, the only thing,
I
I
think
know
it's only like
you've said it a couple times now that you have to make at least 1. I mean, we have 24 meetings. I think you need to make, more than that. I mean, cause.
Yeah, I think, so if you look at the Scottsburg, it's a member may not attend more than 50% of the meetings in a calendar year by electronic means of communication unless the electronic participation is due to military service, illness or other medical condition, death of a relative, it goes on. So they have very specific,
Yeah.
limitations in theirs.
I think
We need to do something.
I think we need to do something, so whatever.
So what's the next step, just
I'll
file?
draft something up for you guys to take a look at and
And the 23rd, we're actually coming back together for the opt-out, opt-in decision again on the opioid. So that would be a perfect time to bring this up and we could get it done before July 1.
Sounds good.
Is that good? Can you?
that'd be fine.
Is that okay?
It would have to, yeah, I can get that.
Think by the 23rd, yeah.
I'm a young girl man, if I get sick, I don't wanna bring something in and kill Joe. That just makes me feel
Well, you're
better.
both Democrats, so.
Yeah, you are. Well, we need that, we have these redevelopment meetings sometimes, we're lucky if we get 2 people to show up, so.
Yeah.
Well, but I think society's turned into that. I mean, I've been on, when I was still working at UPS, I mean, I've been on a million Zoom calls, I mean, and of course, I don't like Zoom for the fact that China owns them, but,
But it could be a telephone call or Zoom, whichever,
Yeah.
it doesn't, we could.
Well, there are very specific rules on your ability to participate in that meeting via the electronic means, being able to be heard by the public, seen by the public when casting a vote. So, I think Zoom would probably be, Zoom or some
Okay.
comparable, like Microsoft Teams or something would probably be the best.
I mean, this would do it, wouldn't it? I mean, well, it couldn't hook up to
No,
that.
I don't know that,
Yeah, that's,
if it was just a
yeah,
phone call, like the risk you run is,
yeah, I got you,
being able to be seen.
yeah.
And I've actually thought about this too. we need to get a smart television or something in here to where if we wanna put, you know,
Sure.
some sort of stuff up here and show the public.
Yeah.
We need, and that would be a situation
I'll
where
tell
you
you.
could be on this TV, or I could be, or Andy could be.
I will say the risk you run in some of this though is that there are certain items, during the year that you are not permitted to vote
Yeah.
on, using electronic, even if you adopt a rule like this. So if you have a particular item that is important to you, or anybody else out there for any of the boards that they're adopting, you need to look at what's on your agenda.
Yeah.
And you probably have to know that pretty early, because there's gonna be a notification requirement of participation fees that. So if you adopt it, you gotta follow it, and it's,
On the order what you was
There's-
talking about, the TV for the audience, after last month, we need a TV out in the hallway. For those rare
Yeah.
exceptions when there are people can't be in this room.
Well, I agree with that, but I mean, we probably could, or should, maybe allow for a bigger venue if we have those type of situations again. I
I
mean,
mean, like move the
move the
meeting.
meeting to like Mass Park at.
Can we do that? I
you
know
need
there
at
are some
least-
things
you need
about-
at least 48 hours.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But we would
if you-
know that.
But if you had a meeting where you knew beforehand coming up, it's gonna be a big,
Okay.
We
And I
could
think
go
the
to
executive, as long as
that
they
one
hold
room out there's got all
one
those
meeting in the
seats.
government center a month, their second meeting, which is, I don't think you're statutorily mandated to meet twice a month, are you? as a
no, I think it's
commissioner?
just once a month.
One.
So once a month, your second optional meeting, I'll call it, could be held at a different venue. I know council has to meet at the seat of government, but
I don't-
you guys, your second meeting could be.
Well, but I'm just saying in a situation where
We know it's gonna
We're
it's
be,
too
gonna be a
crowded.
big thing,
Yeah.
we could make other arrangements, we go to school, we could go,
Yeah.
but
You
the,
could City
the
Hall.
Mass Park is,
yeah, whatever,
the Mass Park is an ideal
Yeah.
venue,
yeah.
but yes, but anyway, I think the TV in here, cause, you know, there's situations sometimes when, you know, we're presenting something and they can't see what we're talking about. You know, but if we could have it where we could say, hey, here's the form we're talking about, here's the, you know, whatever, I think that would, I think,
Something.
yeah,
I agree.
And I could probably wear a Target or something on my shirt, so they could really.
that's me.
Shoot me.
You know,
What else you got?
That was it, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess we're going to go to the coroner's office engineer service proposal.
That's what I sent to, or we talked, well, I'll say this. The email that you got earlier today, did you see that from the lady at Autumn from Renaissance?
No, I
Okay.
didn't.
That had to do with Lincoln Taylor.
Oh,
And your
okay, I see,
renovation
I see,
at
yeah.
the
I didn't see that
hospital.
yet,
Okay,
cause I sent Lincoln a message asking if he, cause, you know, I guess to bring everybody up to speed. Once we got all the stuff to the hospital, then we had to go back to Lincoln. Lincoln had to go to an engineer, have drawings rendered, and then send that to the state to get state permits. And so you're saying that we've got that from the engineering group?
yes, and you all have that, I made a copy in your packet, Renaissance Design Build Incorporated, and this is the 21 items that they say they will attend to for that $3,200 engineering fee that is part of what Lincoln quoted to you all in his construction.
Yeah,
remember
that
the
cost,
extra fees?
that cost
Yes.
was built into that, yes.
Yes, so this is the scope of work, and all they're asking for is approval for them to move on to do this work, and for you guys to, for Mike to sign it if you guys don't approve it. And it's in your packet.
And just to clarify, this is, when we came and asked for, the money, this was built into that money as an engineering fee that we didn't know originally we were gonna have to do, but then because it's a state project, and, so anyway, that's why this money's here, so.
You just need Mike to sign it, so what you need. You have to
Approval
vote to let
to
him do it.
proceed with the engineering and him sign the agreement.
I'll do that, you need to vote on that. So you need a vote to let him sign it and to do
by authorizing Renaissance to go ahead and do your engineering work.
I'm good with that. John made a motion to pay the $3,200 to the engineering group, and this is for the morgue, Scott County Memorial Hospital. As part of the whole process that we were having to go through because of the hospital and engineering group and the state permits, so.
I'll say.
Randy seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous.
And I've
so.
got an
You have the
original
one
there,
that-
I could feel signed, please. It's the last page. Thank you.
Alright, next up is claim payment consideration. Looks like Gary Graff for $2,900.
That has to do with some more of the EDC grant work. We thought it was the last one, but they found a couple more, and they do have money in their fund. They got about $25,000. So there's one for $2,900 for technician training for 10 weeks. It's payable to Gary Graff, and then there's an additional one to Justin Mendonca, and it's $300, and it's for instruction, welding instruction. So, I'm needing authorization to go ahead and make those payments to them on Friday.
Oh, okay. Now, you're just talking about Gary Graff, Justin Madonka, American Mortuary, we haven't got to that yet.
No, not yet.
Okay, yeah, so you need a motion for those two.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and pay Gary Graff the $2,900 and Justin Mendonca $300.
I'll second.
I'll make that unanimous. So this is just catching up with stuff at or
Yes.
out the science park.
Yes.
I'll make
The
that
EDC
unanimous.
funds we took in.
Make that unanimous. The next one is American Mortuary for $22.48. I can tell you a little bit about this. Back last year, our past coroner, Jerry Buchanan, came with some numbers for 3 cots, a table, or actually it was 3 cots, and some equipment. Some of the equipment came in last year. The cooler actually is still out at this old John Jones building. The cots were back ordered and they finally came in. But I guess to clarify, 1 cot came in, 1 table came in, and so right now we have two tables, I guess, or a cot and a table. We were only gonna get 1 more cot and it's still back ordered, but we're gonna see if the coroner can get by with using them what he has right now. So with what Tammy sent me today, it looked like we're $177 short. $146.
$146.45.
We're $146.45 short from what Jerry had came in with the number back last year. I think he came up with 90 something, and that was for the cooler and the other tables or cots. So we're short in that motion, I guess, that the council approved, $146.46.
And I kinda have a feeling it has to do with shipping.
It
Because
did.
they shipped not once, but they had to split the order and they had 2 different shipping charges. And I think if they'd have sent everything together, the shipping charges would have been less, because the shipping charge on this last order is $104.
Yeah.
So.
Well, actually, the table was shipped. He didn't charge for the table.
To be shipped.
Yeah. But actually, he probably did because he held off to ship the table and the cot together. So he told me what he was going to, I guess, pass on the shipping for the table, but it sounds to me like he didn't. But anyway, we're $146 or $146 or $145 and some change or whatever. So I guess we need to approve that. go back to council, or do we
Well,
take it out of a fund? I mean,
It's all in general. The coroner's budget, your all's budget is all in general. So if you just give me permission to find the appropriate place in the commissioner's budget to spend this 146.45 from,
yeah,
and approve the payment of the whole claim, then when we pay the claim, we'll pull it from that part of the commissioner's budget and finish the rest in the line in the coroner's budget. That makes sense.
I'm good with things.
So I just need permission to spend from your budget.
I'll make the motion, let her spend from our budget to make up that 100 or
Difference.
whatever it was.
I'll second.
I'll make that unanimous, so. The next thing is, spring 2021 tax distribution of, wow, that's a big number. $10,665,003.56.
And you'd already approved 2,903,000 before, because that was an advance to school district 2. So my settlements, I usually have about 20 million plus, and so I've been approved by the state. I was approved a week ago, no, I was approved last Friday, actually. So, and we have to make distribution by June 30th, all of our units. If you're listening out there, they're gonna get your money early, so yay for them. But anyway, this is what I need, because I would like to disperse these funds Friday. And just be, these are collected, balanced, state approved.
So you need us to do something?
I'm writing checks. So I just need you guys to approve me dispersing those payments or out of your normal claims procedures, because these have to be spent before.
Motion made to
Yeah.
let that big number you read off. a minute ago,
Yeah,
Let Tammy disperse.
her settlement for the
Her
spring,
settlement.
right?
Yeah.
I'll second.
Randy seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous. I've got, another accounts payable voucher here, it looks like for that roller. I mean, should this be in here?
I'm gonna have you sign all these claims you've approved at the end.
Okay,
Rather than
all right.
up to you one at a time.
I think that's,
Sorry. Something I wanna talk about budgets, I'd like to mention, and I think it's something, we need to probably look at the coroner's budget. Because their budget is really, really low, and they're working on a record number of people of deaths, more so than any other year. So,
I can agree with that. I think we can send a recommendation, it's ultimately going down to the council.
well, actually, last
The
year,
unit can tell them we need it.
yeah, last year I asked Jerry, because I knew that we were gonna be in a different situation that we've never been in before in Scott County with coroner. I asked him to this is gonna come out wrong, pad his budget or increase his budget somewhat so that it would offset some of that cost. And I don't know if that happened or how it happened, and a lot of times when it goes to council will look at it and they'll make their recommendation up or down, or add some or take some off or whatever. And you've been a councilman, I haven't, so I don't know how that process really works, but I think we need to get with the coroner and make sure, just like, you know, with Kevin, with you know, the highway department, that they turn in a good budget where he's got the money. You know, if the coroner puts in his budget that he wants X amount of dollars, you know, he needs to make sure that he's got backup showing, hey, it's gonna be for
Check with other counties.
for this or that or this and whatever. And then he goes pleads his case to the council and says, I need to increase my budget for the fact that it's not in a funeral home anymore, it's gonna be in a, you know, standalone situation, and my costs or my money's gonna be more. You're right.
You know, I don't think he even has to go through us.
No, it shouldn't go
He
through
can go
us
straight to
anyway.
council.
He needs to understand that he needs
Yeah.
to go and.
But we can enforce it.
I mean, for right
I don't know
now,
who would want
it
the job for what
escapes
they
me.
make.
How much, I can't remember.
It's $1,500 if you're asking for an autopsy.
Yeah.
No, as far as, what is their budget right now, I
Oh, I
can't
don't
remember
know.
off the top of my head, but it's really ridiculous.
Well, it is because it's,
They get underpaid.
it is
way
because they,
I could see why a funeral home would want it and accept those
Well,
prices. But an individual, it doesn't, there's no,
It doesn't.
they're losing money. They're not making money on what they're doing.
Was,
Well, no, I mean, I'm just talking about their budget to operate the coroner's office.
I think they need money more too.
Well, they
do, because
Yeah.
toxicology is like a 400 or almost $500 to have toxicology ran on somebody, I mean, and that's a blood draw, I mean, so,
But I think you're right there.
but he needs to, Lonnie's gonna have to come in and when he presents
It is,
his budget, now we can say, hey, we recommend that you
yeah.
know, we can send a approval.
Well, I
We
was
can-
curious on whether or not we need this, because Lonnie's new at this too.
Do what?
Lonnie's new at this.
Oh, I can't.
So I was wondering if whether or not we didn't need to send out a kind of a feeler of what's going on, what's, Washington County paying, what's the, you know.
Well, I will go back to where it was, I think Lonnie needs to do that.
Yeah.
Just because if he's an elected official, if he was appointed official from us, we would have authority over him. I mean, we can do it regardless, but I think it's in his hands.
Are we talking about I'm talking about the coroner's budget.
Yeah, I think he needs to do this.
The commissioners can only make recommendations on the budget, the council has,
Yeah.
so I think.
Right.
Yeah.
We can say, hey, we're approving his increase in the budget, you know, he has our blessing or whatever, but as far as us dictating something, I don't think.
Oh, no, I was just wanting to say
No,
that.
but he needs, I
Yeah.
think Lonnie needs to reach out to other counties around us and say, hey, what's your budget look like? And,
Yeah.
you know, and he needs to look at line items and say, hey, I need to put more over here and more here, and yeah, you're right, I mean, we've already got upwards of 15 overdoses, and if those are just toxicology and they weren't an autopsy, then, you know, that's, you know, 15 times 500, I mean, that eats a budget up, and if you're talking about autopsies, that's $1,500 an autopsy.
Real quick.
So that goes pretty fast, so,
And especially with overdoses, because we know those need to be investigated further.
Right.
so yes, he needs to reach out and say, hey, you know, what's other people doing, and then when, he might get with Tammy and say, or Teresa, and say, hey, you know, help me out here on, you know, where do I need to ask for, and present it, because the council is where, you know, they're gonna say, you know, no, or yes, or.
Yeah, ultimately, they have a final word.
So, but we can say, hey, we think he needs an increase, but they have the ultimate say.
Yeah.
Right.
Which I know that, I know you know that.
Let me throw a couple things out real quick. I've harped on this one
Let's
before. I'm sorry.
Let me finish these
Okay,
last
go
two
ahead, I'm sorry,
things,
go ahead.
and then we can
Yeah,
have it over.
no.
I just need a motion, anybody who looked at the payroll ratification for June 21st, 2021?
Yeah, I'm doing it. I'll make a motion to pass.
Second.
I'll make that unanimous, and then, the consideration for the May 19 meeting minutes,
And I'll make a motion to pass that too.
John made a motion,
Second.
Randy second, I'll make that unanimous as well, so, now, John, go ahead.
Well, there's two things. I'll do the one real quick. I've talked about this before. I really think we need to get our websites updated. I think ours is not too bad, but there's so many offices. You look on our county website and it'll just say, call this telephone number. It doesn't say anything else. There's no information at all. And it's probably because a lot of these offices are just little boards who nobody's doing that. I'd like to see all these people get some more information on there, at least a lot of frequently asked questions.
Interactive website.
Because, yes, well, something, because we have a website and there is some good information on there. There's just an awful lot of blank. And each office holder would have to have some kind of arrangement to fill that in. And I'd like to see if Andrew could, I can't put more on him, but if he could help us with that. Because I know you are, you and I both voted for this thing right here. I happen to be very big on letting the public know what we're doing.
Oh, yeah.
Even if they don't like what we're doing.
Yeah.
And I think that website's sure missing a lot of information we could give out to the public.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
So I think, we can get with Andrew and see what kind of programs or,
something.
something that if somebody brings him something and says, hey, can you create this or whatever, and he can create it, or he can make them an admin or whatever, and let them in and do their own thing on their own
We have
site.
login credentials, and each department has been given at the initial onset of this web design. Each department head was given the credentials to log into their section, nobody else's obviously, and provide those updates and changes, because you have staff changes, you have you have elected official changes.
Yeah.
So those things, you know, each department could have an administrator for their department and change the data and stuff
Well,
necessary.
But
The
some of
kicker's
it-
gonna be with some of that is that these people are elected officials.
And that's
That
the
they
question
choose-
for him.
and they
I
choose-
think we can tell them to get this stuff done, but you would know that better.
I'd say you can't.
I think
It
that's
is
where, I
organization.
think Mike's probably on the, I think you can't tell them,
Well, I think we could publish who doesn't wanna give their information. And I think people ought to know who.
But I think you're right as far as the highway department, as far as the EMS, 911, corrections, the health department, those people work for us. So I mean,
The hardest
we
one-
can tell them to do
The
it.
hardest one to me is that people just have the board meetings. They'll meet once a month. They don't have anybody fulfilling those duties. It would almost like we would have to have somebody help them do it, which would be Andrew again.
Well, if they move it and say, hey, you know, this is what we're looking at and this is what we're talking about, and so other people know what we're even discussing, I mean, so.
And maybe that would be like, there's gotta be some other counties already doing better than we are. Maybe we could see what they're doing too, so.
Well, I mean, this might be way out of left field, all right, but that's maybe food for thought.
Yeah,
You know, he presented us with this program for $600,000, and we all know how computer systems are. I mean, if you get 6 years out of it, you've done really good, all right? And then we got, what, $86,000 every year after that. So for $186,000 a year, we may all be looking into a software engineer
maybe,
that can write that can write that program
yeah.
and also serve our county's needs instead of paying $600,000 for a program.
I'd be kinda
I mean,
I'd almost venture to say that those companies that are writing those programs, and this is probably a legal deal, but it's probably something that is, not copyrighted, but something that, something that the legal part of it will uphold in court or anything else, because they're writing reports, and if, you know, him being an attorney, you know, subpoenas those reports, it has to be something that's viable, and I don't know really how I'm wanting to say this, but I think it has to be it's almost like HIPAA, you know, there's certain rules that you can write a program for, but there's certain things that you can't show people. I mean, and same way with this report. I mean, I know you have open record laws and everything
there are
else,
things
but
that would appear on certain CAD reports that would not be revealable
yeah,
under HIPAA or
yeah.
under because there are things that happen at those scenes, right? That maybe the identities and things need to be.
But that may
You'd
be,
have to have an individual who could write a program.
and
It
be
would meet
approved.
all the requirements of those laws and be able to function in a way that wouldn't inhibit, I think, probably sheriff, fire, EMS.
I'd say
That's a tall task. at
Yeah.
there's some liability there, I guess.
You'd have to be
somehow.
careful. Yeah, I agree with that. But anyways, maybe we could just have Andrew maybe take a look and see what he thinks we can do.
On your thing,
Yeah.
yes, I agree, and on on the thing with that CAD, I think that's a heck of a number for a software program, and, you know, if that's a 20-year program, I'd say, yeah, that's probably a good number, and I'd be chomping at the bits at that, but, you know, for it to say you're gonna spend almost $1 million on a software program that's going to last, I'll say 10 years, I think that's almost ludicrous, I mean, in my opinion, but.
Yeah.
I just don't see the payoff.
Well,
I mean, the
but
payback.
I think the problem I see is we don't have a lot of choices. I mean, we may look at this and say this one's cheaper than that one, but they're all gouging us.
But actually, I think, and that's where this regional development company, this RDA and
Yeah.
stuff, they wanna talk about doing something for southern Indiana or for 5 counties that are involved in that. Maybe they do that, maybe they go out there and purchase this software
For
and
all the
say,
counties.
all you counties can use this software and we're gonna pay for it.
Yeah.
You know, because, that's a hit to any county. You know, and you're telling me that Washington County's gonna have it, Jefferson County's gonna have it, Jackson County, you know, everybody around us is gonna have to have a similar system. And just like Jeff was talking about, we could piggyback off somebody else, well, that tells me that you can share it. So why wouldn't we go in and say we're gonna share with, you know, 5 other counties and have somebody else help pay for it? So anyway, that's
You
just
got
a
it.
thought. What else you got?
Number 2, the mower for the cemetery mowers. 2 things I wanna do. Is one, I wanna give, Kevin the authority, or maybe we could do it, cause he's kind of in a limbo land. They're working through him, but he's not really their boss. But I'd like to see us make, and I don't mind doing this, just making him put a sheet up every day telling us what cemeteries they mow. I think they're all being done. It's not so much, I don't think it's not being done. I just like to be able to drive by around and make sure they're being done right. And the second thing is, that mower is still, you and I.
They never did anything to it.
Well, I had him take it down to, back to Hauser's. And, I haven't had a chance to talk to Scott. I want to see if Scott will take a look at it. Haven't got able to do that.
Actually, from what I understand, talking back with Scott, not Scott, but Scott's,
Donnell.
down at the shop,
Yeah.
is that they didn't change the seals, they didn't put.
I don't think it is.
I know they did.
Yeah.
I mean, and then it came back that, oh, they were gonna buy, we're just ordering a new one. I don't know where they got that
And
information.
nobody, unless Johnny
No.
did, I didn't do it.
No, and nobody did, and I said, so I think we need to go back and put the seals in it and see if that fixes it.
Yeah, and that's the $800.
That's the $800
And if
fix.
that don't work, then you're talking
We're
$25.
talking $2,500.
Next option is buy a new one, and we don't wanna do that,
I don't wanna do that, I mean, and not on a 3-year mower, I mean.
Yeah,
But I think there was I don't know, I won't say there was confusion, but there's somebody at the shop down there
Yes.
decided they weren't gonna
Yeah.
we're not doing that, we'll just put it back together and whatever, and that was
Send it
not the
out.
right thing.
Do
yeah.
we have any idea where we're at on hours on that one?
I know this
Yeah.
much, it's still leaking hydraulic fluid, that's what the guys told me, so I said, take it back.
It needs to go back, cause they didn't fix it,
Yeah.
so they didn't fix it, so.
That's it, just wanna let everybody be updated.
What you got anything?
Nope.
Started out gonna be a short meeting.
Yeah. I don't know who got talking.
Ran right out for nothing.
But anyway, Tammy, you got anything?
Just a quick thing about the council meeting, sometime in July, I would highly suggest that your boards get a joint session going with the ARP funds, because how I wanna say this, the commissioners drive the buggy, but the council feeds the horse. So that's kind of where we're at with this, so I've got a really good worksheet that come from NACO, which is the National Association of Counties, that actually has example projects and has it prioritized, kind of like how you might wanna look at the spending from the county perspective. It's got check boxes, things that if you like a project, you can check that off ahead. This is something I wanna bring to the table or talk about. One of the things that as the auditor, I'm gonna highly recommend that we take a look at any COVID expenses that I couldn't get covered with the FEMA reimbursement. I was a little successful on that, or I couldn't get covered with CARES Act money or this or that from COVID, and us recoup our loss from that in 2019 compared to 2020, and moving forward, because we can spend these funds until 24, I think.
Yeah.
Also, the other thing is, if we have any lost revenue for some of these revenue estimates that we've got for budgets such as a school resource officer, we tanked on that one because the school's closed. I can only bill the school for the hours that were in the school. So we lost revenue in 20 due to the schools being closed. Once they started, going going back, it worked out a lot better, but I did lose money there. Our lit proceeds are 2 years behind as far as what we'll recognize. So what we lost in 20, we'll see in 22 in our income taxes, where we, everybody from high school kids that worked at Taco Bell all the way to somebody who was laid off, due to COVID. Our income taxes, revenue is going to fall off. Riverboat sharing revenue, those type of funds where, when the casinos close, we're one of those counties that gets a little bit of riverboat sharing. We need to really analyze those and pay us back first, and then save a little bit for 21 compared to 20, 22 compared to 21, those type of things, because as the economy hopefully rebounds, we'll have more income tax revenue, but in the meantime, we're gonna be short. Gas didn't sell as well, so there's gas tax revenue, because people working from home, schools weren't running. So there's a lot of places that we can reimburse ourselves first, and then think about how do we stimulate the economy, because we're the sieve now, not the federal government. If you literally sent everybody $100 check in the county and dispersed the 4.63 million, you would have done your job. Seriously, you could do that and be done with it, because it is for direct to households, not nonprofits, those type of things. So you guys have to be thinking, okay, what's important to us as a county? Where do we want it? We had tourism impacted, we just had a lot of industry that really lost money during this COVID that exists right here. So again, it's almost like a grant process you're gonna go through, because you gotta think, okay, who's here, who are we gonna target to get our local economy stimulated again? Because they're dependent on local governments to put this money back in the community. It's not a windfall for the government unit. We wanna protect our government services first, which is where the recovery.
You're exactly right. They told us in this meeting last week that, to go back 217, 218, 219, 220, and to take your, your income or your revenue, and then take what you lost, and if it's over, 4.6, I think was the number, you take that number, and if it's 5, then you take that ratio, and that's what you lost, and that's what you can spend your money in that area, those areas. So there's calculations out there, and like I said, it's all on. Actually, both of you guys should get that in an email this week, because they said they were going to send it out. And but like I said, the money, the way you can spend it, you're right. It's not how I thought it was going to be, because I was hoping that we could spend some of that money at the highway department, and we can probably, because the gas tax revenue is going to be down, and we can probably help there. I was hoping with 911 with communications, and there is one out there for communication, but that's also something else. But you're right. It's right now the criteria is very strict on how they're going to do it, and actually they were hoping in this meeting that the feds would look at it like they did last time and go, this is too complicated, and the money's not getting where we want it to get. So
I'm hoping that this first half that we receive is very limited, but that second draw we get is gonna be where they open it up, and once you've got your economy kind of stimulated locally with this money, because Austin got money, Scottsburg got money, we got money. If all that money went right back into our community, that would be several $1 million that we would have for disposable income. So if the second draw, I hope, focuses more back, okay, how can you improve your life and help the government help you? So I'm hoping that we'll have, like you say, Mike, loosened criteria, broadened spectrums that we can use this money for on the second leg of this. I think they're targeting something very specific this first time.
no, it's next year.
But next
Second
year,
leg next year?
yes.
Yeah. Okay. But there are people out there pushing federal people about your criteria is too strict, and so hopefully we can get some politicians up in higher places saying some more better things or whatever.
So I'll be getting back with you guys later about a July date.
I shouldn't have
hopefully.
asked you.
I know, I'm gonna start. I know, don't get me started. But,
Anyway, I don't I don't really have anything outside of, we do have an executive meeting tomorrow night at 4:30, so. Outside of that, I'll entertain a motion to let John go eat.
Yep, I'm ready. Motion, second.
I'll make that unanimous, so shut the owl off.
Yep.